is the reptilian brainstem. The reptilian brain is all to do with survival mode, survival state. It's always scanning the environment for safety, whether that's physically, emotionally, or mentally. It does not think. It is instant. For example, do I smack the guy or run off? If something happens to you, like a car's coming really quick to you, you do not think about this. The reptilian brain is the animal instinct that will instantly move your body on the instant reactions. Hence why it's the closest brain to the rest of the body. It has instant access to the electrical nervous system to control the body at instant reactions. Now, Neo is plugged in on the back of the neck, which is the reptilian brain. Therefore, the matrix is the body itself. It is the lowest state of consciousness. This is what it represents. The word matrix means womb. It translates to womb because your body is a womb. Your body is a vessel for universal consciousness, for God consciousness. And the body is also a womb where you can be born again outside of this body by raising your consciousness, by awakening the neocortex. This is why Neo is called Neo, because it represents the neocortex. This is the higher aspect of our brain. This is all to do with new things, higher reasoning, higher thinking, new learning. You see, the brain is a receiver for universal consciousness. Now, what do I mean? It is a radio receiver. Think of it like this. You have a radio tower which emits frequencies, and each little frequency, 00.1, 00.2, 00.3, each 00 point is a different person. We are all the same universal consciousness encapsulated inside of a different vessel. This is why our body is the temple of God inside of the Bible. Your body is a sacred temple of the divine essence of the universe. However, consciousness is controlling this physical body. And I'll show you this diagram here. Consciousness consists of imagination, emotions, thought, and memory. All of these things are not physical. They're not made out of atoms. You cannot think with atoms. If I split open your brain while you are thinking of a cheesecake, I would not see a cheesecake. It's because these things exist metaphysically within consciousness. They are not physical. The body is physical. It's part of matter. It's part of time. You see the Leonardo da Vinci, the circle and the square. The square represents limitation, beginning and end, because when you draw a square, there is a beginning and end. It represents the body, the mortal self, the ego, the echo. Then you have the spirit raised above, which represents spirit over matter, mind over matter. Invisible forces create physical forces. Everything physical exists in non-physical. This is also the Freemasonic square and compass, why the square is below the compass, because the compass creates the circle, which is spirit or mind. Then you have the square, which is matter. Mind and matter are the same substance. Mind creates matter through thought. Everything in this physical universe manifested through thought. Everything began as thought. So you are spirit and matter. You have a material body and a spiritual body. And you are right in the middle. This is why humans are very, very important. Because we have an animal nature, the reptilian brain, and a higher consciousness, the neocortex. And we must awaken out of the matrix, which means womb, which is the body. And Neo is waken up from the lower self, the reptilian brain, and moves into the neocortex. Because the brain is a radio receiver for consciousness. Now, what do I mean? I went over this before. Your consciousness is controlling the brain. The brain is a computer. And when our consciousness, our imagination, our emotion, our thoughts, and our memories are all contributing towards just survival things, food, safety, fear, All of these things, and our consciousness is locked into a survival state. We are using the reptilian brain. We're no longer thinking. You don't think with the brain, but the consciousness is thinking, which activates the different parts of the brain. When we think for higher reasoning, we use the neocortex. It stimulates the neocortex. When we think about survival, we're using the reptilian brain. So therefore, when Neo wakes up, he wakes up to the higher aspects of consciousness, which is only utilized by the neocortex, by learning new things, and expansion of the mind and expansions of consciousness. Okay? So the whole matrix is to keep you designed, well, the whole matrix is designed to keep you in a survival state, in the three-dimensional awareness. They want you constantly scanning for safety, scanning for food, scanning for emotional safety in relationships and other people. You see, they do not want you to think. They want you stuck in that reptile, that animal state, that beastly state that most people are in. Most people, all they do is eat, listen to music, consume, have sex, lust, desire. This is all the reptilian brain. So when we say the world's being ran by reptilians, it's symbolic. There is no physical reptilian humanoid beings controlling, manipulating human consciousness. We are all the same consciousness. However, there is a corrupted state of consciousness running this world. And this consciousness worships the physical plane. And they control the physical plane. So by doing that, they keep you stuck in a reptilian way of thinking, the animal state, to keep you stuck in the lowest state of consciousness. Now, this is the god Osiris, which represents the reptilian brain. None of the Egyptian gods ever existed. They are all symbolic for the brain and anatomy of the human body. Osiris represents the reptilian brain, as you can see this anatomy compare to the brain stem and Osiris statue found in Egypt. And we also see an ancient artwork of Osiris with green skin and two reptile crocodile alligators next to him, which also symbolizes the reptilian survival state of human consciousness and the activation of the reptilian brain. This is what it symbolizes. Now, this is what the Matrix is all talking about. It's talking about the awakening, the expansion of consciousness. The word divine is dive in because you connect with the divine by diving inward. There is no man in the sky going to save you. You must connect with the self. Know thyself. Truth comes from within. All of these things I'm telling you comes from within you. I'm just pointing it out. All of this is self-realization. A lot of people say, well, what are my sources? My sources is knowing thyself, observing thyself, using the neocortex of critically thinking, sitting down and thinking about yourself and having deep realization of yourself. You can realize that your thoughts are not of this physical world. It's quite simple. The brain does not think. The brain does not imagine. The brain does not hold memory. All of these things exist in consciousness, the one consciousness, but we are all fractal, infinite parts of. This is the eye on the triangle, consciousness being given down to the rest. This is separate. Consciousness is separate from the rest of the pyramid. The pyramid is your body. Neo is the one consciousness. This is the Egyptians symbolizing the one consciousness giving Ankh, which is life, to all the different life forms. However, you can see that the central sphere is giving a big Ankh to the humans, because humans, like I said, possess the advanced consciousness, an advanced brain that allows us to turn above our reptilian animal self. For example, we can go against our reptilian lower animal nature and turn to our godly nature. Animals cannot do that. They are stuck in instinct. They are stuck in a reptilian animal way of thinking and operating. Everything they create is to survive. We can turn against our lower nature and create for amazing things like buildings, architecture, technology. We can use our creative consciousness for anything we wish, not just survival needs. And it's the same with your spiritual journey. You can raise your consciousness beyond this animal state that they try to keep you in through fear, consumption, food, and the reptilian brain. We must awaken, start to think critically, and awaken to our divinity, because the mind, the consciousness within you has infinite potential to expand. There are infinite fields of knowledge that you can explore. The mind can never be filled. It can never ever be full of knowledge. It always expands, and that's why you are alive. That's why you are part of this universe. That's why the science always says the universe is always expanding, because the universe exists in your mind, and the mind is always expanding into new fields of thought, new fields of knowledge and information. And that is your whole sole purpose, of expansion of mind and expansion of consciousness, and the exploration of the mind of God. We are living in the mind of God. You are a thought in the mind of God. You must awaken out of this body. This is why Jesus says you must be born again to see the kingdom of God. You must be born again. You must raise your consciousness beyond physical limitation and awaken to your divinity. And this is pretty much it for this video. I hope you all understand this, that this is all symbolic for consciousness.
Welcome to Revival of Wisdom.
Welcome people, we're back with another video. Please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to never miss a video. The Earth is a giant torus field consisting of a positive and a negative pole. The Sun being the cathode with a positive charge and the Moon being the anode with a negative charge. This is why the Sun rules over the day, giving you lots of energy, and the Moon taking your energy from you, making you go to sleep. Now, the plane that we live on is called the plane of inertia, and at the center of this plane of inertia is the North Pole. This is where the two electromagnetical energies meet. Now, this is where the most electromagnetic energy is stored. This is why all compasses will point north, because it's the most magnetic place in this reality. So the Sun and the Moon is spinning around this center point, which is stirring the ether of this reality and making everything move in circles, meaning this is a cycle. Everything's recycling itself. It's an organic simulation. The ancients also knew about this sacred land at the center of this reality, known as the North Pole. As you can see on this map from the 1500s of the North Pole, you can see 4 islands around this center black rock. Ancient civilizations like the Mayans, the Buddhists, and ancient Chinese also depict these 4 islands. The endless symbology of these sacred lands at the center has been going on for thousands of years. These sort of secrets are now kept by the elites, but as always they have to show the truth in plain sight, and this is what they are doing with the Windows symbol and also the Wizard of Oz. Now in the Wizard of Oz, as you can see, there's something called Munchkin Land. Munchkins are these unusually short people. Then on the ancient 1500s map it says Pygmy, and then the Pygmy people in mythology are also these unusually short people. Just like Santa and his elves, they come from the North Pole, and elves are these unusually short people. These stories that we are told about Santa and Munchkins are putting truth in plain sight about this sacred land. This sacred land at the center of the earth is where the aurora borealis comes from and is being emitted from this black hole in the center, also known as the black sun. The aurora borealis is the Earth's aura, hence why it has the word aura inside of it. It is the life-giving essence to all life within this realm. As this dualistic reality we live in consists of both physical and spiritual, the black sun is like our sun for the spirit. It's our spiritual umbilical cord, connecting us to the spirit realm. And the rising sun is the opposite. It's our sun for our physical 666 carbon suits, known as our human body, our physical aspect. As it states in the 40,000-year-old emerald tablets, deep in Earth's heart lies the flower, the source of the spirit. The flower of life is as thine own place of spirit, and streams through the earth as thine flows through thy form, giving off life to the earth and its children. So the North Pole is the core of this spiritual reality, and the closer you get to it, the more spiritual and lucid it becomes. So the elites have covered this up in order for us to forget the true nature of this reality. And they did this cover up by introducing the globe model. Nicholas Copernicus was around in the 1400s, and he introduced the globe model. As you can see, he is a Freemason. He depicts himself with a globe and a Masonic compass in all of his paintings and portraits. Galileo was also a Freemason, as you could see in all of his portraits with a globe and a Masonic compass. He was also a massive part of introducing the globe model after Nicholas Copernicus. So yes, the globe model was a spiritual and political move to gain more control over the masses. After the globe model was then introduced, they introduced the theory of evolution by another Freemason, Charles Darwin. See how these two theories go hand in hand? They both degrade humanity and they make you confused of where we actually came from. By hiding the true form of this divine creation and hiding the true power of each and every one of us, they maintain control over the masses. Now this is order out of chaos, known to be the 33rd degree slogan of Freemasonry. Now this is the Masonic cosmology, and as you can see, you have the checkered board for the duality, the 5-pointed star for the 5 elements, the 4 corners for the 4 pillars, the all-seeing eye, which is Polaris, the sun, the moon, and the 7 stars. So even Freemasons are taught the flat earth cosmology and the true form of this reality. Now the true nature of the sun, the moon, and the earth is shown and reflected through the Masonic compass. The Masonic compass is the sun, the moon, Polaris at the top, and the black sun at the bottom. It makes sense why all the scientists who introduced the globe model all used the compass and the globe together, because it's truth in plain sight. As I explained in my other video, all Freemasons have to take the oath, so it goes to show, why are we all learning these theories from Freemasons who can't talk about certain topics that they learn about? Why should we believe their theories when they're holding back the real truth about this reality? Now going on to NASA. NASA means to deceive in Hebrew, and they are also funded by the government. They are not a private company. The old owner of NASA, Werner von Braun, on his grave has the Bible verse Psalms 91. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Now why would the owner of NASA put this on his grave? Seems a bit suspicious to me, alongside with the NASA astronauts are all Freemasons. And not to mention the countless mistakes they've made on their live videos in space stations, the moon landing, and the CGI footage of the Earth, which is obviously photoshopped. Just by tricking the masses that they live on a spinning ball, the elites gain the perception of the masses. Not only does it hide the divine creation we're inside of, it hides the divine spark within you. It hides the creator, the source. And by believing in space and we live on a spinning ball, it makes people come to the interpretation of that we are a coincidence and we do not have any purpose. And of course this is false. When you come to realization that we are all a divine creation and we can create our own divine life in this reality, life becomes more sacred and you start to enjoy little things. The elites want you to believe everything exists only in the five senses. They want you constantly looking outside of yourself because they know that will keep you on lower states of consciousness. Now this brings me to our next point. By tricking the masses into the heliocentric model, the elites started to advertise aliens in the movies, in cartoons and magazines in the late 1940s. Now this is subconsciously programming us about aliens and extraterrestrial threats, which then they can use to their advantage. And this is something called Project Bluebeam. They are more than likely going to fake an alien invasion to push this 2040 agenda, which is for one government and one ruling currency. That's it for this video, guys and girls. Hope you all enjoyed. Please make sure to leave a like and a comment. God bless you all.
In this video, we're going to be talking about the evolution of consciousness. You are born human, however you possess consciousness, which is the awareness behind your being, the awareness behind your thoughts, the experiencer behind your five senses, the experiencer, the observer behind your thought, emotions, and senses. You are an eye, an invisible consciousness looking through a lens which is your body. Your body produces this physical world that you experience. Your brain produces this world. Your brain and body is a technological computer. However, you are an infinite, ever-expanding consciousness behind this physical body. And there is an evolution of consciousness, a cosmic journey of expansion. And this is why we see so much pyramid symbolism in the occult and esoteric world, and especially within Freemasonry. Because the pyramid represents climbing, an evolution, a raising state of consciousness, a journey. Steps symbolize a journey upwards. This is the raising and the evolution of consciousness, our inner world. The transmutation of our inner selves, of our souls and consciousness and our minds. So when we see this pyramid, we're seeing a evolution, a way up to source consciousness. And the eye in the pyramid represents your source consciousness. It represents illumination. It represents divine guidance through this evolution of consciousness. This is why we see the ladder. Consciousness is ever expanding on an infinite journey of evolution. Each individual is a part of this cosmic process, contributing towards the ongoing expansion of both mind and awareness. As we evolve, we collectively explore deeper levels of existence, expanding the boundaries of thought and consciousness. The mind has the ability to expand infinitely into new realms of thought, into new dimensions of mind. The mind cannot be filled up. It is not a physical substance. The body can be filled up because it is a physical thing, but you cannot fill the mind. Therefore, the mind is constantly expanding, ever expanding into new fields of thought. So what we see in Freemasonry, the ladder, is again a journey, an elevation of consciousness. When we are born with an infant consciousness, and as we gain older, we gain an adult consciousness. Our inner world, our inner mind, and our emotional intellect changes and evolves. We are significantly different from when we were very young as an infant. It's because our consciousness evolutes, it changes, it alters like water. So just like this evolution of your own consciousness as growing up, There is consciousness of beings existing in cycles beyond our own. And their consciousness is unimaginably different from ours. They operate on a higher level of understanding and knowing, experiencing reality in ways that transcend our current comprehension. Our minds right now cannot comprehend the highest states of consciousness. There are entities, there are beings beyond our own, existing in higher dimensions of consciousness that we cannot comprehend because they have expanded. They are on a further way up the ladder of consciousness. However, we are all on the same journey. None of us can take the same journey. There is one ultimate goal, reaching source consciousness. However, this is always ever expanding. However, we are all on a different journey. There is one truth, one source, one goal. However, there are billions in different ways of reaching it, and we are all on these different paths to source consciousness, to this ladder, this evolution of universal evolution. Okay? Their awareness is attuned to new dimensions of existence, reflecting a more advanced stage in the cosmic journey of consciousness evolution. So when you take DMT, you are shot into these higher realms of consciousness where you meet these beings who look similar to these images. They are not speaking to you physically. They don't speak to you three-dimensionally through vibration and words. They speak to you mentally. If you have done DMT, then you know this. And if you have met these beings, then you know this. You might have even met some of these types of beings on mushrooms or any psychedelic drugs. Because ultimately, when you take these mind-altering substances, it's altering your consciousness. It's merging your consciousness with the spirit of that substance. And you are essentially attuning your mind to higher dimensions of consciousness. That's why we say we're getting high when we take these substances. Therefore, when you meet these beings on DMT, you are essentially meeting beings who are attuned to higher dimensions of consciousness, and they speak to you mentally. They speak to you telepathically through thought, because the universe is mental. Everything exists within the mind. The way you are now, your physical existence, is a state of mind. Mind, thought creates matter. Spirit and matter are two opposing ways of thinking. If we have a very spiritual mind, we have an expanded mind, we are a spiritual person through the mind. However, if we have a very low state of consciousness where we think about food, sex, lust, and all physical things, then we have a physical consciousness. Matter and spirit are two opposing forces, two ways of thinking. The mind attunes itself to different levels of understanding in different dimensions. So, essentially, this is what we're looking at. The body is a vessel for the fluidic, formless consciousness, a temple that houses the essence of our awareness. While the five senses are limited to perceiving only the physical plane, the mind transcends these limitations, capable of perceiving the full scope of reality. It is through the mind that we access deeper truths beyond the material, tapping into boundless nature of existence. Physical existence is a thin band, a thin layer of reality. It's like 0.001% of reality. And your five senses are only tuned into this layer of reality. But the five senses are, by design, only allowed to perceive physicality. But the mind has the power to expand beyond this physical five sense state. The mind has the power to expand and evolute. It is a conscious decision whether you want to take this path or not. You can stay in a three-dimensional way of thinking, or you can expand your consciousness from within. It's not an external journey. There is no God going to save you. You must save yourself. Therefore, behind every single one of these eyes is the same source consciousness. However, we are all different cells in a different journey. The organs in your body, the cells in your body are all alive. They all possess same consciousness, universal consciousness. However, we are all on a different journey of evolution. As above, so below. As the baby is in the mother's womb, when the baby becomes conscious, there is a world outside of its mother. What does it do? It presses and seeks a way out to be born in the other world outside of its mother. It is the same with your consciousness, your mind. When your mind becomes aware that there is realities beyond the immediate surroundings, it seeks a way out. And this is exactly what I'm doing to you now. I am now expanding your mind and telling you there is other ways of reality. There's other dimensions of consciousness which you can access through inner transmutation, through different ways of thinking, spiritualism, and meditating and connecting with yourself and detaching from external things. We can upgrade our consciousness. Your body is a womb. Why Jesus says you must be born again to see the kingdom of God, because you are born physically and then you must be born again spiritually, awakening your inner consciousness. So like I said, as the baby is in the womb, it's the same principle. As above, so below. You were a baby, you were in your mother's womb, and you figured out there is a world outside of your mother, so you seek to weigh out your mother to be born in another world. It's the same now. You must do this now. This is your spiritual evolution. This is the evolution of consciousness. It's ever expanding. When you die, this is a transition. You must learn to not fear death. This is another part of your spiritual journey. You must master death. Therefore, like I said before, the mind has limitless capacity to expand into new realms of thought, continuously exploring uncharted ideas and concepts without boundaries. The mind can ever expand. It can never be filled. It can never ever know everything. There is infinite fields of knowledge, infinite fields of thought. Your current state is just one stage on an infinite pathway. You won't remain human forever. The human experience is a crucial phase where we learn to balance polarities, master the fundamental laws of the cosmos. It is a period of growth and transformation, preparing us for the next stages in our cosmic evolution. The goal is to strive for perfection, yet the true perfection is unattainable. It's like a tunnel, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And as you walk through this tunnel, the light is ever moving backwards. You should forever seek to meet that light, but you will never meet that light because consciousness is ever expanding. You should strive for perfection, yet knowing that perfection is forever unattainable. The journey is endless, with each step revealing deeper layers of understanding and experience. The pursuit of growth and expansion is itself the essence of our evolution. You can find all of this knowledge in the amazing book that I have read for years. I have read this book, The Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, by M. Dorial, translated by M. Dorial. I'm telling you now, this book, now that I've told you this, you have some context on the book. The whole book is about evolution of consciousness. He's talking about higher dimensions beings. He's talking about how you can transcend this physical plane. It is truly the most amazing book you will probably read. One of the best spiritual texts you'll see. It's hard to understand, so you must read it over and over again. And the more your mind progresses, like for me, I read this every couple months. And the more I learn about consciousness, the more I expand my own consciousness. And every time I read this book, I pick out something new that just completely blows my mind, because you can only understand this book to your level of consciousness, to your level of understanding. So now that I've told you all this information, go and read this book and it will absolutely blow your mind. And so will the Book of Wisdom Volume 2, which is now available. I released it the other day. I'm just going to read a page out now. This page is called Spirit and Matter. The Earth is not merely a dense, lifeless rock drifting through space. It possesses spirit, a living, cosmic a living essence that animates its form. But what do we mean by spirit? Spirit in esoteric terms refers to the energy, the life force, animating the principles infused in matter. So essentially, what this page is talking about is how everything has spirit, consciousness within it. You are the middle, you are spirit and matter. You have the ability to expand your mind to the God self and raise above our animal instinct, our material self, and know the divine and expand. Animals cannot do this. Animals are not self-aware. Humans possess self-awareness. We can observe our consciousness. We can say, why do I exist? We can look in the mirror and know that we need growth. And this is what Anunnaki means. Anu means above. Anu was the supreme god of the sky, which is a metaphor. He represents spirit above, heaven. Anu came down to earth and married Ki, the goddess of the earth, which represents matter. It's a myth, it's an allegory. Anu married Ki and gave birth to the Anunnaki. Spirit came down and infused with matter and gave birth to the human, which is you. You are spirit infused in matter, Anu and Ki, Anunnaki. You are the Anunnaki. And this is what just one of the teachings in my book. Honestly, this book is absolutely amazing. If you truly, truly want to expand your consciousness, give this book a read. And obviously, if you're inside the university, I give you this book for free. A paperback version. If you join the university, follow the steps inside of the general chat, you'll be able to download this book. Or, sorry, not download it. Order a paperback for free. All you have to do is pay for the shipping. You'll also gain amazing knowledge inside of my library, where your mind will just be overblown with the amount of esoteric books. There's over 45 rare occult books, plus you get a PDF of the Volume 1 and Human Health Guide. You get reoccurring updates where I expand on symbolism, occultism, where you will just feel absolutely amazing once you understand esotericism in yourself. You'll also learn how to create the dream reality that you want with the Manifestation Mastery course, where I teach you how your consciousness creates reality. You'll have a real lectures where I post lectures on symbolism, occultism, esotericism. There's a conscious community and live calls and Q&A where you can ask me questions and I'll answer your questions. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined the university. Thank you for even liking and watching this video. Any support I just appreciate every single one of you. Please, if you can, leave a comment and a like on this video and let me know any videos you want me to make in the future. And I will start uploading a lot more to the YouTube. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in today. Have an amazing day. The earth has become a realm in order to trap souls within so that they can harness our electricity, our energy. Even the Bible is talking about how this realm is controlled by the wicked one in John 5:19. We know that we are the children of God and that the whole world is under the control of the evil one. Ephesians 6:12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. So the Bible is telling us that this is not the only world. There are other worlds, there are other realms that we can go to, considered as heaven. Heaven being a higher realm where there is no evil, no darkness. This is a midpoint realm where there is good and evil. Now, we're going to explain how the soul trap is how it's working and how your soul is being harnessed for its energy and how you are tricked to come back to this realm after death. What you need to understand is first is that you are the invisible intelligence behind the physical body. You are the mind and soul. The soul is the true you. the good you. It is pure love, pure bliss, eternal, never dies. The mind can be corrupted, though. The mind is the intelligence of the soul. It is invisible. It has no true form. The intelligence inhabits the brain. The brain is the computer to control the electrical machine called the nervous system, which is choice, program, and action. You are the invisible intelligence behind the body, and this will prove it even more. You do not even see into the external world. You are seeing an image produced by the brain because the light is being sucked through the retinas of the eyes. The image is produced in the visual cortex at the back of the brain. What does this mean? This means that we are the consciousness in the center of the brain, in the pineal gland, that is experiencing the program being ran by the central nervous system in the brain. This is the sigil of Lucifer. Lucifer in Latin is Lucy. Lucy is light in Latin. Lucifer is known as the light bearer. This is how the eyes work, people. It's not a demon or a devil. The sigil for Lucifer is how the eyes work, and how the left eye is controlled by the right brain. The right eye is controlled by the left brain. There is a crossover. It's the same with the body. The left side of the body is controlled by the right brain. The right side of the body is controlled by the left brain. There's a crossover with our hemispheres in the brain. Now, this empty chamber in the center of the brain is where this universal cosmic intelligence is held, known as the most holy place in the Bible, the throne of God. Okay? This is above the 33 vertebrae on the spine. As you can see here, you are the being in the center of this point. All of the nerves are being sent back to this one particular point, which is the seat of our invisible intelligence. You can see it's an empty chamber. Our consciousness, our intelligence is not a physical thing. This intelligence is the true voice inside of your head. This is why your head is heaven, your heart is earth, your heel is hell. Your head is heaven because this is the seat, the throne of God. God is in heaven because the consciousness, this divine intelligence that's controlling the body, is sat in the center of the brain. The brain is taking commands of this invisible intelligence. When you close your eyes, you can feel your awareness, your consciousness, your intelligence is all in the brain. Your awareness is not in the feet, the heart, the legs, the arms. It's all in the center of the brain. Now, if you meditate deeply, you will find that you are beyond the mind. You are the being observing the thoughts. You are the soul observing the thoughts. Now, with this being said, you are the consciousness experiencing the program being ran by the central nervous system in the brain, because you're not seeing into the external world. It's an image, it's a simulated image produced by the brain and the central nervous system. You do not experience the external world. You do not feel the external world. You feel electrical impulses on your nervous system. Your nervous system is decoding what you are feeling. So the only thing that you truly feel is the electrical impulses on your nervous system. This is why the nervous system is the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because it gives your invisible intelligence, your mind, the knowledge of good and evil. It can detect good things, it can detect bad things. If it's hot, if it's warm, if I need to go, the nervous system is doing this. It is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay? Now this universal intelligence is symbolized as the single eye. Okay?
Matthew 18:9. It is better for you to enter life with one eye than to have two eyes and to be thrown into the fire of hell. What does this mean? It's symbolic, it's metaphorical, people. It is metaphoric. Your universal intelligence is the single eye, the one eye. It's the balance between the two poles, between the left and the right, the good and the evil. It knows the right thing to do all the time. This is our inner guide. The inner self is the inner guide. And when you are operating your life off duality, using your two eyes, you'll be thrown into the fire of hell, lower states of consciousness. Because you're split. You need to live in oneness, even, balance. Matthew 6:22, the light of the body is the eye. The light of the whole body is the eye. You are a light being. Human. Hue means an attribute of a color. Man is the word manifested. We are light manifested into physical form. Depending on your vibration is depending on what color that you are vibrating on, which is a hue, a human. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body should be full of light. Again, it's talking about the single eye, oneness, completeness. When you balance the hemispheres of the brain, we'll go over that later. But anyways, the body is the earth. This is what we need to understand, people. The body is running the simulation, the program that our consciousness is experiencing. So when we leave the body during death and astral projection, we leave the earth. This is how it works. The body is the vehicle for the earth, for this realm. Everything exists within our mind. You have the soul, mind, and body. The soul is the observer, the watcher, the true being. This is why she has many different heads, because the soul inhabits different bodies. This is the serpent, which means knowledge, which is the mind, wisdom. And this is the body, soul, mind, and body, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. The mind is the bridge between the soul and the body. So what do I mean? When you astral project, you are using your mind to project your awareness, your observing consciousness outside of the physical body. The mind is the projector, projecting consciousness. By using your mind, you can project your consciousness outside of the body, which is known as the astral realms, which is known as walking on water. Jesus was never walking on physical water, people. It's metaphorical. Believing the physical body. The water is the ether, which is the veil between the physical and the astral realm. It's a fluid substance. It's on either side. It's physical and astral. The ether is the fifth element that they hide from us. Why? Because they're trapping you in the physical. They are hiding all of these realms. Etheric, astral, and mental. People think their mind is their brain. It's two separate dimensions. These are completely different dimensions. The mind is way more intelligent. The mind is formless. There is no form to the mind. You can think anything you want. You can manifest anything you want within your mind. It is not a physical object. The physical realm is being controlled by the mind. Everything's being controlled by the mind. Everything exists within the mind. This is why the Egyptian says the universe is mental. So when we project our consciousness outside of the physical, we go to the astral. The ether is the water that Jesus is walking on. This is the veil between the physical and the astral world. The word together has ether within it because it joins the two worlds together, together, the astral and the physical. The word either is ether because the ether is on either side, physical and astral, physical and spiritual, physical and non-physical.
In the astral realm, the mind can manifest anything we want. We incarnate to restrict our minds. This is why Saturn, if you go and watch my video on Saturn, how Saturn is this simulation, okay, our minds can manifest anything we want in the astral plane in the click of a finger. However, when we incarnate in matter, we now have to labor for our manifestations. This is why Saturn's known as the great teacher in astrology, because he teaches you a lesson. When your mind incarnates into matter, it's teaching your mind a lesson, the knowledge of good and evil. This is why the Bible says, you shall be gods and know the knowledge of good and evil. When you incarnate here, you have to know the knowledge, you need to know the knowledge of good and evil to become a god. Okay? Now, the square is the physical plane, the triangle's the ethereal plane, the circle's the eternal plane. The circle has no beginning, no end, it's eternal. The physical plane is the square, it's limited. The square is limited. The cube is the geometric shape which gives rise to matter. Now, the term think outside the box has truth in plain sight. You have to think outside the box to project your consciousness, use your mind to project your consciousness outside of the box, the physical plane, into the astrals. The astral realm is the realm of the stars. Above us is the stars. Through the stars is the astral plane. This is why astral has the word star within it. The devil is the de-veil. When you sell your soul to the devil, quote unquote, it's metaphorical. The devil exists in the physical plane. It's the lowest state of consciousness. The de-veil, you de-veil yourself into the physical when you are the devil. The de-veil. The ethereal plane. Now, we all know what the famous symbol of the all-seeing eye, right? The all-seeing eye with the eye in the triangle. Look at the Masonic artwork showing you the triangle above in the sky. This is symbolizing the ethereal planes. The eye in the triangle symbolizes your invisible intelligence, your mind, which has the ability to see on either side. Because the triangle's the ethereal plane. The eye is your consciousness, your intelligence. And this intelligence has the ability to see in the physical plane and to see in the ethereal planes, in the astral planes. This is why it's above the earth. It's above the ground. Because it can see here, it can see in the heavenly realms. Now, the stars are, well, this is known as heaven, the realms of the astral planes. This is some quotes from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Out of the darkness ye must rise upwards, one with the light and one with the stars. Man is in process of changing to forms that are not of this world. Grows he in time to the formless, a plane on the cycle above. So there's other worlds. The Bible's telling you there's other worlds, there's other realms. Know ye must become formless before ye are one with the light, the astral light above, which shining through the stars. Not of the earth are ye, earthy, but a child of the infinite cosmic light. You are the invisible intelligence controlling the physical body. The body's not you. It's the vehicle that your soul lands in when your mind projects your consciousness into that realm. Free from the body, I flashed through the night. Unlocked at last for me was the star space. Wow, that's powerful. The star space, the astral planes. This is what it's talking about. We are all a star. We descended from the astrals, which is the star. We are all a star. Look at the ancient paintings of Jesus' birth. It's the star beaming his consciousness down into the physical plane. Here's another one. Here's some Freemasonic artwork showing you, again, the ether, that invisible intelligence, the eye, manifesting itself inside of here, in the physical realm, where the people are. You see? It's the same here. This is Jesus. The bird symbolizes the Holy Spirit, your invisible intelligence, descending into the waters, the ether, the ethereal, everything. The ether is the base of all physical matter. His truth in plain sight. Mr. Bean, the famous TV program in England, in the UK. He begins the program like we all begin the program for falling from the stars. He falls down with a beam of light. And this is truth in plain sight. This is false. The aliens don't exist. They're a lie, alien. But this symbolizes the star beaming our consciousness. And when we die, this star will suck us back up, just like this UFO is doing. It's truth in plain sight. So this is some more Freemasonic artwork, going from duality to singularity. Sun, moon, masculine, feminine. Right hemisphere, feminine, left hemisphere, masculine. The consciousness in the center, the balance point. Here's another more Freemasonic artwork. The two pillars, left and right hemispheres, and the invisible intelligence between the left and right hemispheres, the light of the body. This is why light's coming off it. Because it's light, it's pure light. The blazing star. The stairs go from the checkered board, the duality, up to oneness, in between the sun and the moon, the masculine and the feminine. This is symbolizing going into oneness. What did the Emerald Tablet say? You've got to become one with the stars, one with the one with the self. Balancing the two hemispheres so that you can gain, because when the two hemispheres are balanced, you can gain a more deeper connection with your invisible intelligence. Same with the chakras. When the chakras, the 7 seals in the Bible, these are 7 seals because when you conquer the 7 chakras, when you balance the 7 chakras, you then gain a more deeper connection with your internal self, because your mind is not filled, it's not being ran, it's not being dominated by these 7 deadly sins, the 7 seals, the 7 chakras. These are 7 energy centers which are concealing our true form. Balance makes us have a stronger connection with our true cosmic intelligence. Heaven is even. This is why Jesus is pointing at the heart. The even point is the heart. You got to balance the chakras and live from the heart, because the heart is the earth. You're in good and evil. The body manifests the lower and the higher self. The higher self is in the higher parts of the body. Wisdom, intuition, expression. The lower self is in the lower parts of the body. Sex, food, and power. This is how they are trapping your soul, people. Like I said, the mind is the bridge between the soul and the body. So by tricking the mind, not giving it the right knowledge, and keeping the mind stuck in the lower 3 centers, thinking about power, food, and sex, this is low vibrating energy. It's going to keep your mind addicted to the physical realms. Okay? This is why you need to go even, balance, heaven. Okay? I will explain the soul trap in a second, how it fully works. But I'm telling you all the science behind it so you can understand. When you are doomed, you are domed. This is the dome, the firmament, the firmament, the mind. Ment is mind, firm is firm. A firmament is doomed under the firmament. You must have a loose mind, an open mind to expand your consciousness beyond the stars, beyond the ethereal barrier. You have to vibrate higher than this world. Your consciousness must be expanded more than the physical plane. You need to learn how to astral project. You need to learn how to leave the body, how to operate outside of the body, so that you, when you do leave the body, you will have recognition. You'll have knowledge. You'll have practice. But this is as above, so below. The woman's belly is the earth. It's as above, so below. It's a microcosm of the macrocosm. We are the children in the womb. We are the people in the earth being ready to be born into the heavenly realms. As above, so below. It's a microcosm, macrocosm. Everything is in everything on a bigger and a smaller and a larger scale. Now, when the baby figures out that there is a world beyond its mother, what happens? The baby starts to move around and tries to get out of the mother. Because once it starts to hear the external world, starts to hear people, it's going to wonder, what's outside of why am I in here? What's outside? So the baby will force its way out of the mother. It's the same with our minds, as above, so below. When our minds figure out that there are other realms beyond this world, we will seek a way out. This is the womb, the Mother Earth, Mother Nature. It's the mother. We're in the womb. We can be born out of this world, which is being born again in the Bible. When you are doomed, you are domed under the dome, under the firmament, the firm mind. The firm mind will keep you under the firmament. Due to the law of polarity, there has to be other realms. There has to be. Because the law of polarity works in this world, and it will work on every scale possible. It's universal laws. These are universal laws. The law of polarity means that there are other realms polarizing this realm. There is a hell, there is a heaven. There is a midpoint, which is Midgard, which is the one we are in now. Earth, heart. Earth is the heart. Heart is the center, good and bad. The balance between good and bad. Your reality is your level of realization. Your mind realizes other worlds, you will seek a way to them worlds. It's that simple. The soul trap is to keep you stuck in this physical body, which is the earth. This body is the earth. It's running the program, like I said at the beginning. It's running the simulation that your consciousness is experiencing. You are an electromagnetic being, and you're hidden in a cage, your rib cage, and you're stuck in cells, a prison cells. Look, you're in cells. We produce electromagnetic energy. Your soul produces this energy. And by trapping your consciousness inside of this physical realm, they harness this energy within the astral realms. They're using you to manifest demons, because your mind creates demons through emotions and mental thought energy, which is a whole nother video. I can make a video on that. You're manifesting everything for them because they're trying to create a hive mind. This is why they want everyone to believe in one belief system, one government, one belief system, one religion, because they're creating a hive mind. This hive mind will manifest and be summoned within the astral planes, because the mind manifests the astral plane. The astral plane is the realm of imagination. The mental plane is the realm of just thought alone. The etheric plane is the energy. The physical plane is the matter. So all of our minds together are manifesting these demons within these subconscious realms, the astral. Now, how are they keeping you stuck to this realm? Well, when you die and you're stuck in your lower three chakras, okay, when your mind and soul detaches from the body, which is the earth, when you leave the earth, you're still going to have these mental addictions to the food, the sex, the materialism, the phone, the cigarettes, everything. This is why they get you addicted to everything possible. The TikTok, the YouTube. They get you addicted to as many things possible. Because when your mind is addicted to these things, and when this mind leaves the physical body, you're still going to have these addictions. Okay? You're still going to have these thoughts. And you will be manifested into the lower astral realms because you're thinking materialistic, you're thinking negative, because your level of realization was your reality. You were manifesting hell on the earth. When you leave the body, you're going to manifest hell in the astral planes, which means you'll be vibrating on the very low, which will put you in the lower astral realms. So guess what? You're going to come back. You're going to come back into materialism. You're going to reincarnate because you haven't prepared for life after death. You must detach from the external world. Okay? Moon is mind. The sun is the soul. The earth is the body. The moon is the mind. This is why we say lunatic. In your mind, you have a specific mood. Moon. Money, M-O-N, is the moon. Money exists in the mind. They get you addicted to the money. The Bible's telling you this. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's telling you. Of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Who knew that the Bible was this deep? Matthew 16:26, what good will it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? James 4:4, don't you know that friendship with this world means enmity against God? Therefore, anyone who chooses to be a friend of this world, of the world, becomes an enemy of God. John 4:4, dear children are from God and have overcome them, because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. It's talking about the invisible intelligence. It's greater than the physical world. John 2:15, do not love this world, nor the things it offers you. Because this world will create you to, if your mind has attachments to what this world offers, sex, money, and power, pretty much, you will reincarnate here. You will come back here. Because when you leave the body, your mind will still have these addictions. Do not love the world, nor the things it has to offer you. All of this is in my newly published book. The paperback versions are now available. Finally, for all the people who have been waiting, the Book of Wisdom. All of this knowledge is inside of the Book of Wisdom. The paperbacks are available. There's worldwide shipping. You can get it anywhere, pretty much, any country. My new website, it's amazing. There's going to be some amazing products coming on the new website. But I thank you all for the support. Before I leave, I need to explain what is going on with the soul trap. Like I said at the beginning, the mind's the bridge between the soul and the body. The body's the realm. By tricking your mind with false knowledge, they are keeping your soul stuck to this realm. They get you addicted to all the physical things, and that is it. As soon as you're addicted and you die, you're going to come back. So by tricking your mind, which is the bridge between the realms, they keep your mind stuck within this body. They keep you in physicality. They deveil you, the devil, the deveil. Thank you all for the support, people. If you do want to join the Academy, all the links will be posted below this video for the book, The Academy. Thank you all for the support and have an amazing day. What if I told you many people around you have probably sold their souls? It's more popular than you think, and it's very easy to do. Selling your soul is not something that you can just go and meet the devil and do it. It doesn't work like that. But before I tell you exactly how you can sell your soul and how not to sell your soul, what is the soul? So looking at Jesus, we always see two lights surrounding his head, one surrounding the heart. And as of course, if you've been watching my channel, you know Jesus represents you. He represents the divine essence of the universe made in human form. Each one of us possess a fractal of God's infinite consciousness. We are all God. We are all God experiencing himself in a three-dimensional divided form, separated from his oneness. God wanted to experience himself, so he made this world. So each one of us possess a soul, and the soul is the spark of God's infinite loving consciousness, filled with God's loving moral law. So the reason why Jesus is always have a light above his head and a light on his heart is because this represents the brain and the heart. The brain is not the mind. The heart is not the soul. The brain is the physical manifestation of the mind. It is the physical mechanical computer for the spiritual mind. The heart is the physical manifestation of the soul. The heart is a brain. In fact, it contains 40,000 specialized cells, which are the exact same cells found in your cranial brain. Yes, your heart is an emotional brain. Your cranial brain is a thought brain. It's a computer. Okay? Everything that exists physically exists non-physically. This is what the ancients called spirit, just means invisible force. The mind, the thoughts are not made of atoms. You can't touch, you can't find tangible thoughts, imaginations. These things exist spiritually in metaphysical counterspace. It's the same with your emotions. The emotions are spiritual. They are not physical. You can't touch them. So thoughts are the language of the mind. Emotions are the language of the soul. Sometimes we can become eluded by thought and we can become eluded by emotion. If we are led purely by emotion, we can create illusions in our perception. The same if we rely only on thought. We must balance these two. Okay? So the mind is the creator, the soul is the operator. Every thought we think is being judged by our soul. The soul is the judge. The soul tells you what is right, what is wrong. And even the Freemasons depict this spirit and matter in their black and white checkered boards. White is spirit, black is matter. Matter is dead, spirit is life. This is what this represents. Physical reality is not just physical. For every physical object, for every physical manifestation, there is a spiritual force bringing it into existence. Consciousness brings everything into existence. Before you kick a football, there's a change in your inner consciousness before you take that action of kicking the football. Everything exists in spirit before matter. You existed in spirit before you were physical. We also see this in alchemical Freemasonic artwork. This represents the clouds. This is the mind. This is the heavens. And then coming down into the heart, which represents the earth. The light entering the mind into the heart, because every thought we think is being judged by the heart. The heart speaks to you through emotion. The soul speaks to you through emotion. Every thought you think, your heart is telling you that is right, or it's telling you that is wrong. Why? Why is this? Emotions can guide us, okay? Emotions are the language of our soul. Our soul guides us to our soul purpose. Each one of us contains a purpose in this physical life. There is a reason you are alive. There is a reason why you came from spirit into a material reality. Your jealousy reveals where you need to be in life. If you are jealous of someone, this is your soul saying you need to be there. That's where you need to be. Your fear reveals your greatest growth in order for you to reach your life's purpose. If you fear something, this is your soul telling you you need to overcome this in order to reach your life purpose. This is the next obstacle. The soul, your life purpose is not found in your passion. It's found on the other side of your greatest fear. The soul's always seeking, it's always seeking truth. It's always seeking to expand, to learn. The soul must go through pain in order to overcome, in order to grow. That's why we are here, to grow and expand and create. We also see this in alchemical artwork. Again, the mind in the clouds, the heart and the soul. They must work in unity. Each one of us contains the spark of the divine, which is the soul. Okay? Which is the soul. This is the operator. God, generator, operator, destroyer. The generator is the mind. The operator is the soul. The destroyer is the body. Everything will generate, everything will operate, and everything will die. That's the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. There's always a Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Okay, so each one of us contains God's law, and it's encoded within our consciousness, within our soul, within our heart. That is what's judging everything you do. Every time you hurt someone, you can feel it. If you've ever punched someone, you can feel it. You know it's wrong. If you've ever stole something from someone, it doesn't matter what you've learned in the past. If you steal something, you know deep down within your soul it's wrong. This is because each one of us are encoded with God's law of love and integrity. I don't care how tough you think you are and how hard you think you are and what you've done in your life. I don't care. You know what is right, what is wrong, because you are encoded with love. Does not matter how far your mind can take you away, how corrupt your mind can become. There is always a spark of love and empathy in your heart, in your soul. You know this when a child. When you're a child, you're not racist. You don't want to hurt anyone. You don't want to steal. As a child, you're pure love, you're pure awareness, you're pure. You would never think about being racist. It's the corruption of the mind that leads us to corruption. Our soul always wants to do good. So the soul is encoded with God's law. And when we go against this law, this destroys our body. Yes, because your body is electromagnetic, and that's being casted from your heart. So every time you go against the heart's guidance, moral law, we weaken our electromagnetic field, which weakens our body. If you've ever looked at someone who's very negative, you can see them. You can see that they are aging quicker. You look at Scrooge, for example. If you ever watched Scrooge, look at how corrupt he looks. That's his heart. You can see the people's hearts on their face. People who do negative things and have negative thoughts, negative emotions, you can see it in their eyes and their face. It's because it corrupts you. It corrupts the body. It ages the body. Goodness is life. Okay. So can you sell your soul? You cannot sell your soul physically. But what you can sell is your conscience. What you can go against is that moral law. And you can exchange physical material things such as money, fame, cars, houses, business, in order for you can exchange that to go against your inner dialogue. For example, these rappers, celebrities, what are they doing? They're not selling their soul. You can't sell your soul to some entity on the astral plane. But what you can do, you can take money to say, I'm going to go against my heart. I'm going to go against my inner moral law. I'm going to take that money and I'm going to do something wrong. It's basically going against your soul. It's selling your soul, selling your soul's guidance of moral law. That's what selling your soul is. And that's what these rappers are doing. That's why they're so sad. You know, this is why all these rappers are on drugs, doing all sorts of things to escape, to short-term escape what they've done. They're going against their inner guidance for money. And yes, short-term pleasure may be happy for now, but in the long run, it will leave you feeling voidless because nothing material can ever satisfy your soul. Nothing. You could gain £1 million tomorrow, guaranteed within 2 weeks, you'd be back to the exact same position mentally, emotionally as before, because nothing physical can ever satisfy you. Guaranteed, if you received $1 million in, yes, if you received $1 million now, in a week's time, you'd be hunting for the next million because it does not satisfy you. There's a reason why these billionaires don't stop working, because they're so addicted to earning and earning and earning. It doesn't satisfy you. The only way you can satisfy yourself is through Christ consciousness, is through self-love, is through loving thyself, knowing thyself, and becoming balanced internally in consciousness instead of seeking external validation through material things, which end up leaving you feeling voidless, empty inside, and sad and depressed and anxiety. Everyone's looking outside of themselves for validation, when true validation comes from within. True satisfaction, true happiness comes from within, reaching Christ. Christ is a state of being, a state of consciousness that we must cultivate within ourselves so we can live a happy, balanced life. You can have all these material things when you're satisfied inside, but don't rely on them. Me, I enjoy material things, but I don't desire them. I don't chase them. I don't rely on this for validation. You can have big cars. You could have your favorite watches. You could have Lamborghinis. Yes, it's fun, but don't let it give you your happiness. As long as you're happy on the inside, it's okay to have these things. You should seek balance with your inner world and outer world. Okay, so this is what they are doing. Rappers, celebrities, actors, Hollywood, this is what they've done. They've exchanged their inner integrity, their inner law, their inner moral compass for exchange for material wealth, fame, money, and cars. That's what they've done. And power, it corrupts you. They slowly corrupt you. So yes, you cannot sell your soul. And if you wish to learn more, I'll see you inside Ethereal University with my community, where we are learning every day to master ourselves, to expand our consciousness. If you want to lucid dream, astral project, master yourself, create the desired reality you want, learn about human consciousness and your full potential, then Ethereal University is for you, and I'll see you inside. The link will be in the description. Thank you for watching. What is good, people? We're back with another video, and today we're talking about the chakras. Let's jump straight into this because I know there's been a lot of requests for this video. So let's jump straight into this. So you have 7 chakras, right? 7 chakras, and these chakras are feeding off your electromagnetic field, known as your aura. This is both positive and a negative pole, male and female, right? This electromagnetic field is made out of electric and magnetism, and together they come as electromagnetic. Now, your chakras, the word chakra just means wheel, spinning wheel, because that's what they are. They're spinning wheels of energy. They do not exist on this physical plane. They exist on the etheric plane. Okay? Now, these energy centers
are known to regulate your emotions, and each energy center controls the organs and cells in that particular area of the body. So, for example, your sacral chakra will control the cells and organs of your sexual reproduction area. Okay, the navel chakra or solar plexus will control the digestion in your body. Same with the heart, same with the throat, right? So they are like mini brains for each center of your body. They run along up the spine, but notice the crown chakra exists outside the body. It's just above the head. Now, this process of the chakras is obviously the 7 colors of the rainbow, starting from red, which is the lowest vibrational color, all the way to violet, which is the highest vibrational color. This, like I said, these energy centers are feeding off your electromagnetic field. So if these chakras are unbalanced, they are taking too much energy from your electromagnetic field, making it weaker. Now, this is the North Pole. As you all know, the Earth is flat, and we live inside of a giant torus field, and the North Pole is the Earth's heart chakra. And this is why the aurora borealis, or the northern lights, whatever you want to call them, that's why they are green, and they are being emitted from this center point of the Earth, because it's symbolizing the heart chakra, which is green, right? Now, you do work your way up to these. However, this is a torus field. You are a torus field. You have different layers of this torus field, right? And you need to balance all of these chakras, but you can't move up these chakras until you open the one below it. So it's like a stairway. You can't go to your solar plexus without going through your sacral. You see? So you have to work up these. However, you have to work up these and then live from the heart, because the heart is the center of the torus field. It's the balance between male and female poles, positive and negative poles. So you have to balance all of these chakras and then bring them all into one, which is the heart chakra. Now, they exist on the etheric plane. They exist on the etheric plane, and the etheric plane is a layer of the material plane. It's the one higher than the material plane. And then after the etheric plane, it melts into the astral plane. So they exist just between the physical and the astral aspect. Now, this is the yin and yang matter, which is the lowest root chakra, physical matter, and then to spirit, because high vibrational matter turns into spirit, low vibrational spirit turns into matter. So they're interchangeable. This is the yin and yang. Now, when you see ancient paintings with the halos, you see this is like a toroidal field coming out the top of his head, you see, with a halo. This was symbolizing in the old days, in the ancient days, that they've aligned their chakra, they've reached Christ consciousness, which is God consciousness, right? Now, this electromagnetic field is the apple that we bit out of in the Bible, because you see that apple is a torus field. So they were metaphorically or personifying the torus field. That's what the Bible is. It's a massive personification. It's all metaphors. You have to read it properly. It's got a greater meaning behind it. Now, when we bit from the apple, we ate from the tree of knowledge, which is good and evil. Our lower mind took over, so we materialized to feed our physical bodies. We materialized through Saturn. That's what Saturn does. Now, if you don't understand that, go and watch the video previous to this one called Occult Secrets of Saturn. And that will show you how Saturn is the materializer. Now, this is one of the secrets behind the Masonic compass, electric and magnetic, male and female, duality, positive and negative. Now, like I said, they teach you about the torus field, about a magnet, in school, but they don't teach you about your electromagnetic field. Everything alive has a torus field. It is the building block of this creation. Absolutely everything has a torus field. There's not one thing without it. And as you can see here at the center of the apple, that's where the seed is. That's where the life is. The reproduction of that organism. As you see, this is where the most electromagnetic energy is stored, in the center, because this is where the two duality, this is where the field meets at the very center. This is why the seed is at the very center. Now, your spine is a elongation of the brain. The brain is heaven, and the bottom of the spine is hell. So this is Saturn, which is the root chakra. The 7 planets are associated with each chakra. Moon equals mind. Okay. Now Saturn is physical matter, as I've just explained. This is the lowest vibrational color. And they want you trapped down here, which is your hell state, your animal nature, your physical nature. They want you to identify as the physical body. They don't want you to reach these higher states of consciousness. Okay? Now, in the brain, you have 12 convolutions. Now, this is what they were symbolizing in the Bible with the 12 disciples. And obviously in the Bible, it says the upper room where Jesus met with his disciples. This is heaven, the brain, the higher states of consciousness. Now, this is your North Pole. This is Jacob's ladder. Okay. This is why you have 33 levels of Freemasonry, because it's symbolizing the 33 vertebrae, which are these little things here on the back of your spine. Because once the Kundalini energy from the bottom of your spine rises to the top, this is when you get enlightenment and opens your third eye. Spiritual enlightenment. As you can see here, this is Jacob's ladder. This is the Kundalini symbol, right? And they're even showing you this in the medical symbol. They're putting it in your face. The serpents are wrapped around the spine. Now, the serpents symbolize how the energy moves around the spine, because it's a torus field, you see? At the center of the torus field, it wraps around the center pole. It wraps around it, and this is how the energy moves up. So they're symbolizing it with the serpents. Okay? Now, every religion has a sacred river. For the Egyptians, it's the River Nile. For Christianity, it's the Jordan River, right? This river is the canal, the energy canal at the center of your spine, all the way leading to heaven, to the Holy Land. This is the chamber which the energy rises up, right? Now, they used to say the gods descended from heaven to man. This is just heaven. This is the mind state. And they said the gods were connected by a rainbow bridge. That's the chakra system, the rainbow bridge. Okay. Now, the ancients called this place Midgard, Earth, where both evil and good live, right? Midgard. But you can go to heaven, which is a pure mind state, because once you're in heaven, nothing negative can ever bother you. That's completeness, pure Christ consciousness. Now, this is why Jesus dies at 33. He didn't actually die, but it's symbolizing the death of the physical body. Not the death of the physical body, but his consciousness rising above the physical body to, as I said here, matter to spirit. Matter died off and he came spirit consciousness. This is symbolized by the 33 vertebrae, which is obviously the 33 levels of Freemasonry. And now the pineal gland, which is at the very top of this Jacob's ladder, or the River Jordan, the canal, your 33 vertebrae on your spine. This is where the pineal gland sits, right? At the very top, at the center of your brain.
Now, there's multiple ways this was symbolized. The Eye of Ra, which is used by the Egyptians. Now, this pineal gland is the seat of consciousness. This is where your consciousness is stored, right? And the ancient Sumerians used the pine cone, hence why it's got the word pineal gland, the seat of the soul consciousness. It produces DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which is known as the spirit molecule. And the pineal gland is wrapped in microcrystals, and we all know crystals transfer frequency and energy. Now, radios use crystals. A radio is a frequency transmitter, turning a frequency into a frequency that we can hear with our ears, right? Because all the radios are actually playing right now in your ears. However, our ears can't pick it up, so the radio transmits it into a frequency that we can hear using crystals. So this is the power of crystals, and this is what our third eye is wrapped in, crystals. Now, this third eye is not actually your third eye, it's your first eye. When you're being materialized in your mother's womb, this is the first gland that is produced, and everything's built around it, because it is the consciousness. It is your consciousness. Your consciousness never dies, ever. It's an eternal essence. It lives forever. You never actually die. Only the mortal body dies. Now that's what we call life. Life is abided by time, and time is change, and change is what we call life, because everything's constantly moving and transforming into different things, right? Now let's not get off track. The pine cone is obviously, this is in the Vatican here. The pine cone is symbolized as the pineal gland, pine. And this is the opened pine cone. The opened pine cone means or symbolizes the awakened man, the awakened third eye. But the ones here, which the Sumerian gods are holding, these are shut pine cones, symbolizing the unawakened man. But let's not get confused, people. These gods were not gods. They are human beings just like you. They reached Christ consciousness. They are nothing more special than you. They just had the ability to reach Christ consciousness. And obviously their knowledge was far more intelligent than ours, far more advanced than ours. They knew the truth about this reality to the depths. Now, the ancient Hindus had a goddess called Kundalini, which is said that she descended by the means of a ladder or a cord from heaven, which is symbolizing the spinal cord. Now, this is what Hickory Hickory Dock, the mouse went up the clock and came back down. This is all these stories, like Santa as well. Santa comes up and then down the chimney. This is symbolizing the Christ oil. There's an oil which is produced in your pineal gland, right? And this oil travels down the spine. And once it's down on the spine, you must have to raise your consciousness, just like I said, with the chakras. You have to raise your consciousness, raise your vibration to heat up this oil and turn it into a gas. And it travels back up the spine through like the serpents up the spine, and this awakens the third eye once it's coming back up the spine and hits the pineal gland. This is the secret behind Santa and Hickory Hickory Dock, because Santa comes down and feeds the presents and goes back up the chimney, and he lives in the North Pole, the positive pole. This is the North Pole, people, and the presence is your sacred oil. This oil, your physical body is the furnace. It's the spiritual furnace, which you have to heat up this oil by raising your frequency and turning it into a gas to rise up this chamber, the River Jordan, to your third eye, right? Now, this is an alchemical process. Your body is the alchemical furnace. It says in the Bible, if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. I shouldn't have cut that out, but that's what it says. The light of the body is thine eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy eye shall be filled, their body shall be filled with light. This is symbolizing the pineal gland enlightening the body, the spiritual body, filled with light. Now, as I said, they want you kept down here, which is the root chakra, which is your animal nature, which is obviously mind, matter over mind. This is the symbol of Saturn, right? As you say, we're built of body, mind, and spirit, the Holy Trinity. That is the sun, moon, and earth. The sun's your soul, solar. Moon is your mind. Earth, which is the cross, which is your physical body, the 5 elements, right? So body, mind, and spirit. So the Saturn symbol is actually made out of the cross on top, which is the earth, and the moon on the bottom, which is symbolizing matter over mind, because earth is physical matter. You don't want to be matter over mind. You need to be mind over matter. See, they want you identifying as your physical body. They don't want you to realize you're an eternal consciousness. You're an eternal essence of consciousness which never dies. They want you trapped in your animal nature. And this is why the Baphomet has a goat head, because it's symbolizing your animal nature, which is evil. Not evil, but you're more likely to do evil things, right? Which brings bad karma. That's your animal side. This is why the Baphomet has an animal goat head. As you can see here, he's got the Kundalini energy here. So when you see the inverted cross, the cross is your body, as you can see here. The inverted cross means your chakra's downwards, down here. Your head's down here. Your mind is down here. But your mind needs to be up here, which is the upwards cross, which is Christ consciousness. And as we all know, 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 planets, 7 chakras. Red light is low frequency and long range. This is why Saturn is the slowest moving celestial body. And it's the lowest chakra, because it's low frequency, long range. The moon being the crown chakra, which is high frequency. This is why the moon moves around the quickest. The moon is your crown chakra, which moon in mind. See, so there are multiple ways of your chakras becoming blocked. Now, each chakra has a specific intelligence. It has a specific thing that it's doing for the body, right? Now, this can be overused. It can be abused. For example, masturbation. That keeps you down here in your sacral chakra, because you're abusing that energy center. You're abusing your sexual energy, which is then becoming unbalanced. So this is how energy, this is why these centers are pulling more energy out your electromagnetic field, because these centers are wheels. The chakras just mean spinning wheel of energy. So when you're abusing these certain centers, you're pulling energy out of your electromagnetic field, which is making your field weaker, which is making your frequency lower, which makes you prone to diseases, prone to lower negative energy, right? So you need to align these chakras. You need to unbalance them. And as you can see here, you can screenshot these to see how they're blocked. I'm not going to go over each one because it'll take me forever, but have a little read yourself. This is why they're blocked. Now, the ancients used to say Aum when they meditated. Now, these are the 7 vowels. There's not 5 vowels, there's actually 7. Now, when they say Aum, they're aligning all their chakras by saying this when meditated. This is where the Aum originated from. Now, emotion is energy in motion. So if you're feeling a certain way, that's the energy you've put in motion. It's a reflection. We live in a mirror reality. Everything's mirrored. Everything's mirrored. As within, so without, as above, so below. Everything's a reflection of some sort. So whatever you're feeling, you're doing something wrong. It's telling you you're doing something wrong from the root cause, because your energies are the effect. You're feeling the effect of something you've caused. The law of cause and effect. Nothing escapes it. Now, the Jehovah's Witness believe that exactly 144,000 faithful Christians go to heaven or be resurrected, right? This is not true. This is symbolic. 144,000 go to heaven. Now the petals on the chakras, this is the root chakra, this is the crown chakra. Now, if you add up the first 5 chakras, the petals, add up the petals on the first 5 chakras, you get 48. And then you get to the third eye, which has 2 petals. 48 times 2 equals 96. 96 plus 48, which you got from here, equals 144. The last chakra has 1,000 petals. Times 144 times 1,000, you get 144,000. This is a frequency. This frequency is the frequency of the ascension up your chakras. This frequency is a high frequency, which turns that oil into gas, which rises up the spine, activating your third eye. Right? So this is all the religions are all symbolic for this sacred secret of Christ consciousness. As it says in the Bible, the kingdom of God is within. It's not out there, people. You must look within yourself. You are God. You are a spark of his consciousness, infinite consciousness, right? So 144,000 is a frequency, and you must achieve this. Like I said, these people in the past, they're not gods, people. These were just humans. Nothing special. They just reached Christ consciousness. Now, they keep you in these lower vibrational states with the food, right? And as you can see here, all of these fast food restaurants are mainly are red and yellow, which are these lower states, these lower 2 chakras, lower vibrational colors, because they want you trapped down here in matter. And these foods are so low vibrational, they will keep you down here, because your gut produces, I think it's like 80% of melatonin. Melatonin is your feel-good hormone. These foods will not make you feel good. This is very low vibrational. Meat. It's not meat, it's raw flesh. These animals are stripped from their family, put on a conveyor belt, watch their friends be tortured, and then get slaughtered in a slaughterhouse. Think of all the fear that's running through their blood, all the hormones, all the fear, and you're going to go and eat that very low vibrational energy. As you can see here, this is the light photons within fruit. You can see the life force in this fruit. You must think, feel, and do positive to raise your vibration. As you can see, earth equals heart. If you rearrange it, everything in nature is green, right? The aurora borealis is green. You must align all these chakras and then live from the heart, because the heart's the center of the Taurus field. You must become the consciousness in the center. So that's it for this video, people. Thank you all. God bless.
Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing the esoteric and occult meaning behind the story inside of Genesis, the story of Adam and Eve. This is a widely known story, but not many people know the true esoteric meaning behind it. Okay, so today we're going to be breaking this symbolism down. Before we get into this, please leave a like and a subscribe on the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And please comment below any lectures or anything you wish to know, and I could maybe make it in the future. The first thing we must understand about the Bible is that it is an esoteric and occult book. It is written in allegory. It is written in such a way that we understand the book compared to our level of perception. Now, what do I mean? If a child read the Bible, they would gain a standard meaning and story behind it. They would gain a normal interpretation of the book, of being good, praise God, and be a good person. However, me, who have studied the occult and esoteric and symbolism for a very long time, When I read the Bible, I see a deeper meaning. I can read between the lines of the allegories, which means the Bible is written in such a genius way that it speaks to your level of intelligence. Depending on how advanced you are mentally and with knowledge, will depend on how you decipher this book and how the parables inside the book can speak to you in your personal life. Okay. So the Bible is the greatest psychological book ever written in history. This is why it's known as the greatest story ever told. It's a story. What we must understand with the Bible is that the Bible creates on the surface a logical way of thinking, which is what we call religion. We read the Bible and if we think logically and we take that book literally, then we gain a religion. But if we look beyond the surface, this is what we call esoteric, metaphorical, symbolic. You can read between the lines using our right hemisphere of the brain in deciphering this book and what it truly means to us and the evolution of our mind, body, and soul. What this book actually reveals between the lines is instructions and stories which teach you how to level up your consciousness, how you can sync the mind, body, and spirit and the soul all together so you can live like a god. This is what the esoteric is. It's the purification of consciousness. Now, when it comes to Adam and Eve, okay, what we must understand is that this is the beginning of creation. This represents the beginning of your life in an esoteric way. This is symbolic for the beginning of your incarnation into this physical world. Okay. And we have Adam, masculine, Eve representing feminine. These are the two masculine and feminine energies which create the whole material universe. Okay. And as we are born with a pure consciousness. We are born with pure consciousness. Well, now, what do I mean? As a baby, we have no knowledge. We are pure essence of the soul. You know, we don't gain the knowledge of good and evil. We are pure. Yes, we're not happy all the time as a baby, and we're not sad all the time, but we have no ego. This is what I mean. Our consciousness is not split. As a baby, you are whole. You have a whole consciousness. You are yourself. You have no false identifications, no limiting belief systems, nothing. You are pure awareness and the pure soul and the pure mind. Now, this is what Genesis is representing. As we grow older, the more experiences we gain, the more thoughts we start to think, the more knowledge we gain of this world, the more impure our mind, our heart, our soul, our spirit becomes, the more impure our body becomes. As we grow older, we're infected with negative beliefs, negative thoughts, and society norms. This is a big one. As we grow older, we are molded by society. We shut off areas of ourself and we push them away so that we fit in with society. We all know this. We all did this in school. We pushed away parts of ourselves to act cool or to fit in, whatever it may be. Whatever type of person you were in school, we all went through this because society and culture is programmed. So as we grow older, our consciousness splits. We gain a persona, an ego, and we gain a shadow self, the subconscious, and we gain an ego. Now, the ego is what you show to people. It's that character that you show, that you put on to your culture, to your family, to your friends. This is a false identification. And we also gain a shadow self. The shadow self is gained through experience. This is the subconscious. Our ego is created through experience. And so is the subconscious and the shadow self. Okay. So as we gain age in this material body, we fall from the Garden of Eden. We gain the knowledge of good and evil. This is what the symbolism represents of us leaving the garden, us eating from the fruit. Now, the fruit represents the knowledge, it represents the insight, the experience, which splits our pure consciousness. Our soul splits. Okay. We lose connection with the divine. We lose connection with our pure self through material experiences. We may lose ourselves in material experiences. We may lose ourselves in lust and material gain, wealth, and all of these lovely things that the material world offers. We lose ourselves in this. Okay. And not only that, there's another symbolic thing that we're missing with being a child. There's another symbolic meaning behind this tree in this story of Adam and Eve. And this is sexual energy. Okay. As we are a baby, we have no ability to create another human life. We have no sexual urges. We have no desire for the material things as a baby. Nothing. As we grow older, our sexual energy cultivates around the age of, it's like 10, maybe earlier for some people or later for some people. This is what we call puberty, when our sexual energy activates. This is when the masculine and feminine energies are present within the body. And we are now given the ability to create human life. We're now given the ability to bring in a soul into the material world. Now, this is what we believe and know in the esoteric world. That is what sex is. You're bringing a soul from the astral into the physical. Okay. So as you grow older, you gain this ability to use the power of creation. You gain this force within you that allows you to open a portal in the astral and bring in a soul to the material. Now, this power can be misused. This power is very powerful and should not be misused. In occult and esoteric teachings, we teach and learn sexual transmutation, how we transmute sexual energy into different areas of our life so we can grow and create. Because sexual energy is creative energy. It creates a whole new human being. So if we retain it, we can transmute it into creativity. So this energy is kind of corrupting us as well. And now I'm not saying growing up is evil, all this thing is evil. This is a natural cycle that we must go through. The soul of us must go through this cycle so that we learn, so that we overcome it, so that we gain mastery over ourselves, so that we expand ourselves. I recommend you watch the Evolution of Consciousness lecture that I did on my YouTube. An amazing lecture. Talks about the evolution of consciousness and how we're on a never-ending cycle of life and death and expansion. So leaving the Garden of Eden is symbolic. You see, Eve represents emotion. She's feminine. Adam represents action. That's why he bit the apple. You see, Eve takes the apple and tempts Adam because she's the emotion. She's the sexual desire. And Adam eats it. He releases, he misuses the power of his creation. He misuses his consciousness because of material illusions and material desires. This is natural. Okay. As we grow older in this life, our soul has to experience sin. We have to experience negativity. We have to experience evil. Okay. And we have to misuse this power within us to learn about it so we can overcome it and gain control over it. Now, this is why the Bible says in Genesis 3:6, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened. Ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. This is very, very, very symbolic. we come into this world to experience a dualistic way of reality. We come into this world to challenge ourselves so the soul can grow, because the soul comes from pure love from God. But we come into this world so the soul may know what it's like to be evil. You see, we are like a seed. Our soul's like a seed. And when that seed grows, okay, and it's planted, them roots must grow to hell in order for the top of the tree and the roots to grow to heaven. In order for the soul to reach the highest states, it must descend down into the lowest states. Good and evil. This is the story of good and evil, okay? And this is the story, a psychological story of how the human mind has functioned in this life. This is what this story is representing of how our soul and mind is functioning, how our consciousness is splitting and growing up and evoluting. Okay. Like I said, snakes represent sexual energy. They represent, snake, when you've been snaked. This is why we say you've been snaked, because it represents a temptation of sexual energy. This is why the Kundalini is symbolized as a snake. This is the serpent within us that we can rise to activate dormant brain cells in our brain. Now that's called the Kundalini awakening. I'm not going to get into that into this video, but this is what it symbolizes, the tree and the knowledge of good and evil, because our body is the tree. Our central nervous system is the tree. The snake is our sexual urges and this false temptation that tempts us to interact with sin, the material world, okay, and go against our higher divine self. This is what it represents. Now, it's very, very symbolic. Not everyone is going to agree with this, but this is my interpretation of Genesis based on my research of occultism, symbolism, metaphors, and me studying the Bible. This is my interpretation, and I hope it resonates with you. It might not resonate with you, but this is what makes sense to me, and this is what has made sense to many other occult researchers who are in this space as well. Okay. So please leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate if you could, just give me some support on this channel. We're nearly at 100,000 subscribers, which is insane. I just want to say thank you all. And yeah, I will see you inside the university if you join. I'll look forward to mentoring you, connecting with you on the live calls. There's a new symbolism course which is going to be available very, very soon. And yeah, if you join the university, you also get a 30% discount on all of my products, astrology readings, one-on-one calls, all of my books. Yeah, so I hope you gain some insight on this video, and I'll see you in the next video, and I'll see you inside the university. Have an amazing day. What if I told you that reincarnation is real and that there is a metaphysical, spiritual science behind this? Most people leave this world just as lost when they entered it. That they carry their fears, attachments, and addictions with them, only to be born again, trapped in the same cycle, repeating the patterns of lifetime after lifetime. This lecture is not just about preparing for death. It's about mastering yourself before death, so you don't take them burdens with you. Because the truth is, whatever addictions, fears, and unresolved emotions you cling to in this life, you carry with you into the next. Unless you break free now. You must master yourself before death. Death is not the end. It is the great passage. But how we transition depends on our mastery of the self. This was symbolized by the Ouroboros, the snake biting its tail. Every ending is a new beginning. It's an infinite cycle of consciousness. Now, your human body is basically an antenna tapped in to a stream of consciousness. Just like a radio is tapped into a specific frequency to play that radio. Your body is basically an antenna, a crystal picking up the consciousness of God. You are on an ever ending journey, a journey of learning and expansion of the mind into new fields of thought. This was symbolized as the Ouroboros. When you die, it is a new beginning. It's a transitioning, not an ending. Everything is eternal in this universe as consciousness is formless and constantly transforms into new forms of life. Let's break down the word death. Death contains the word ether. Now, the ether can be found in the word heart or earth. Ether. Everything in this plane comes from the etheric plane. The etheric plane is the barrier between the physical plane and the spiritual plane, the astral plane. The astral plane is the screen that you have in your mind that allows you to imagine a red apple, for example. This is the imaginative plane where thought forms start to take form. Everything begins as a thought, then the thought form becomes an imagination, then energy, then physical. Everything in the physical plane is a shadow of thought, all objects manifested as thought. You came from the astral. You came from the stars. This is why we say reach for the stars. Or this is why you say you are a star. Cis star, miss star, fraud star, stir is star. And when you become famous, you become a superstar and you gain a star on the Hollywood floor. You are a star. The ether. The ether is the infinite energy source which all things come out of and return back to. This is the cycle of life and death, summer and winter, day and night, sleep and awake. The ether is the infinite energy source which all things come from and will return back to. Okay, sorry about that little error. The ether is the boundless source of energy from which all things emerge, to which all things return to. We can see this in the cycle of the sun. The sun does this wave of creation. It rises and it falls. We have the day and the night. The daytime represents our conscious mind when we are alert. The nighttime represents our subconscious mind when we are inside the spiritual realms. The nighttime is spirit, the daytime is matter, spirit and matter, awake and asleep, conscious and subconscious. We see this in the yearly cycle. Summer is life, winter is death. Spring is the morning, summer is midday, autumn is evening, winter is the night. Everything is a macro and a micro cycle of being born out of the ether and returning back from life and death. Life and death is manifested within the cycles of the sun and everything outside of you, as within, so without. This is why we say sleep is the cousin of death. The macrocosm is death, the microcosm is sleep. Every time you go to sleep, you are essentially it's a miniature death. You're entering into spirit and then returning back into matter in the morning when the sun rises. Everything is a reflection of the macrocosm cycles. Preparation for death. The first thing we must do in order to prepare for death, for life after death, in order to stop being reincarnated in this cycle of materialism, in order to progress as a soul, because remember, you are a soul in a body. Just like the sun gives power and life to the earth, your soul gives power and life to your body. When you say I, you're referring to the soul. And your soul can be stuck underneath layers of false identifications. Who you believe yourself to be is merely a collection of subconscious programs running within your mind. Now that's very deep. That is very, very deep. Who you think you are is a part of your thinking mind. Your name, your job, your reputation, your family, your friends. These things are not you. They're all aspects of the thinking mind. What happens if you meditate and you turn off the mind? Then all these things do not exist. You're left with the pure soul, the pure awareness, the pure observation. If you turn off the thinking mind, you're no longer your body, you're no longer your reputation, You're no longer your friends. You're no longer your job and your labels. You are the soul. That's the true you, the observation of the mind, not the thinking mind. The ego is the echo. It's an echo of your true self. The ego is your mind's perception of itself, shaped by experiences, trauma, emotions, and beliefs. It is merely an echo of your true soul self. The ego is not you. Your mind is not you. You are the soul. And this is the true self that we must express within our life and we must connect with before we die. Because when we die under the echo, under these false layers of the emotions, the traumas, the experiences, the addictions, the emotional attachments, when we die underneath all of this, when we don't know our true self, the soul is still hidden. The true you is hidden underneath these layers of false identification. We must remove these layers of false identifications. We must remove them. We must destroy the echo. Remember, the ego, you never had an ego when you were a child. When you were a child, you were pure. You didn't, you didn't show off things. When you were a child, you were pure. You expressed yourself freely with you didn't hide anything. You didn't hide any aspect of yourself. You didn't suppress any aspect of yourself to fit in as a child, as a baby. Because the ego was not here when you came here. The ego grows with experience. The ego is a false perception of yourself while being incarnated in this material world. It's your mind's perception of itself and it's created through your experience. Remember, you are unconditioned consciousness, and your experiences, thoughts, traumas, emotions, and beliefs have conditioned your consciousness into believing you're only a physical body, but you are the soul. We have to remove these layers. How do we remove these layers? Like I said, the best thing, meditation. Meditation. There is a great meditation that you can do every single morning and every single night time. You can sit there and repeat over and over before you meditate. You can repeat that you are not this, you are not that, you are not this. You can label them one by one. Start with, I am not my body, I am not my job, I am not my name, and then detach from absolutely everything until you are left with nothingness. And when you start to meditate, detach from everything. Nothing matters. I am here right now. And what will be left? The only thing that will be left is the language that your mind is using. Now, this is very deep. Not many people will tell you this, but I've lingered in meditation many times. And I can tell you from experience that the only thing left once you detach from everything is the language that your mind is attached to. So whether that's English, Italian, French. Once you detach the language of the mind that that little voice in your head's using, you're left with the soul. Once the mind is switched off, you're left with the soul, and you have detached from all of these external things. You're left with the soul. That's you. That's the power. That's the source of all creation, where everything you've ever done has come from. Every thought, every idea has come from your soul. Number two, that's meant to say number two. Sorry about that. Mental addictions and emotional addictions. Okay. These two are very important. Mental addictions, this could be thought patterns. This could be the labels that we've just been talking about. Then you have emotional attachments, which is maybe you're too attached to an external thing. Maybe you're too attached to your phone. Maybe you're too attached to family. Maybe you're too attached to loved ones. Yes, I'm not saying don't love them, but what I'm saying is do not rely on anything in this world to make you happy, to fulfill your emotional needs. Everything is found within you. You must look within, and if you're looking without, if you're trying to find yourself in the outer world, you'll never find yourself. You'll constantly be looking around in loops because nothing, you cannot find yourself in the outer world. Nothing will give you long-term validation. Seeking validation in the outer world will leave you soulless, leave you feeling empty inside and sad and depressed. You have to find yourself within. You have to detach from everything you are relying on to give you emotional stableness. You have to detach from all. Yes, love your children. Yes, love these people, but do not rely on them. Because everything in this world is temporary. Do not conform to this world. The Bible tells you this. Everything in modern society nurtures the body, but neglects the soul. They keep you addicted to as many things as possible. Smoking, you have to detach. Drugs, you have to detach. Alcohol, detach. You cannot rely on anything. This is why this path is very, very difficult to walk. But I'm showing you the way. These are the things you must do before death. You have to detach from absolutely everything. If you die and your mind and soul is still addicted to these worldly things, then guess what? You're going to reincarnate. You're going to reincarnate because your mind is still thinking about these material earthly things. And if you are operating in that vibration, you're going to project that vibration and come back here. You have to detach. You have to master the soul and master the mind. Like I said, the matrix is designed to keep you addicted to as many things as possible. Your phone, food, smoking, drugs, alcohol, clubbing, all of these things. Everything in society is made to trap your soul and reincarnate in this world. That's why it's very, very, very difficult to walk this path. Very difficult. Matrix, matter tricks. John 2:15 to 17. Do not love this world, nor the things it offers you. For when you love the world, you will lose God. Do not love this world, nor the things it offers you. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Great quote. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed. Let this world transform you. Learn from this, expand from this, but do not be mentally and emotionally attached. Okay? What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Like I said, everything in the Bible is telling you the truth. You just got to read it correctly. This is spirituality. This is spirituality. The Bible is spiritual. It's a spiritual text. We must disconnect from everything outside of us and connect with the true soul. Here we have the Egyptians showing you the soul leaving the body. Here we have the soul here. Here we have the Masons showing you the soul coming out. The soul is real. You are the soul. And when you leave this physical plane, you will go into the astral plane. That's where you came from. You came from the astral. You came from the stars. You incarnated into this physical body. Your consciousness fell into this material form to experience limitation, to experience a 3D world. So in order to ascend properly before we die, we have to let go of all the attachments. Every addiction you have, write them down. And one by one, tackle them. Before you die, you have to, or else you will reincarnate. This is the teachings of Egyptians. This is the teachings of Masonry. All of these addictions contribute towards life after death. Everything must be controlled. And we must be attached to the soul. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect, people. We're all not perfect. We're all under psychological operation by the government. We're all in a very difficult situation with this awakening. I'm simply pointing out what I know from my journey and what I've been learning through occultism and research and reading lots of books and many different things. I'm on this journey just as you are. Maybe I'm further. Maybe you're ahead of me. We don't know. But this is what I'm sharing with the world. This is what I'm sharing with my research. And this is what makes sense. It's common sense. Look at everything around you. Everything's made to feed the body, not the soul. So, my beautiful watchers and fans and supporters, I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope this video has supported your journey. If you're feeling lost in life, if you're searching for deeper answers, whether you're seeking clarity, looking to expand your studies, or ready for personalized mentoring, this is your chance to connect with me live and receive insights tailored just for you. Start your path to self-mastery and enlightenment inside the world's best esoteric school. Your journey starts now. Tap the link in the description if you want to join Ethereal University, or feel free to check out my books. I thank you all, and I really appreciate for 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I love every single one of you. Make sure to drop a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know some ideas for, lectures, anything that you want to know. I can make lectures on them. Just drop it in the comments. I appreciate every single one of you. Take care. Geometry. This is the study of nature, of the codes, the mathematical codes behind physical reality. So today we're going to be going deep into geometry and the true esoteric internal geometry, the geometry that no one really talks about, and how geometry relates to human consciousness. So essentially, what we must understand when it comes to geometry, the basics of geometry is everything is vibration. And this vibration is vibrating on a certain frequency. And this certain frequency creates a geometric shape, which is why in nature we see all of these different geometric shapes. All matter takes form in shapes. So if we put sand on a plate and we vibrate the plate on a specific frequency, we see that the sand goes into specific geometric shapes and patterns. So essentially, matter is energy condensed. It's energy vibrating on a low frequency, vibrating at a certain frequency. So matter is condensed energy. And each geometric shape is manifesting and showing a specific energy. Some shapes carry more energies than others. For example, the cube is what traps energy. A square is what traps energy. So geometry and the flowers are basically how energy manifests itself into physical matter. We are in a world made out of energy or light. Light is energy. So everything is vibration, everything is frequency, and everything is energy. Even the words, each atom in our body, everything. So everything in nature has these mathematical energetic codes. So geometry is basically the study of nature and the shapes that are in nature and their energetic principles. Because like I said, matter is energy. So this is what we call cymatics, when we place water in a petri dish and we shine light on top and we vibrate the water. And we can capture, this creates certain patterns. Each frequency, like you see here, has its own pattern. So what we are seeing here in the physical plane is essentially energy condensed into physical reality. We see it in the turtle. We see it in every single form in nature. Now, external geometry and normal geometry, we normally get taught that this is God's way of creating physical reality, which is essentially true. However, it's far more deeper than that. Far, far, far more deeper. Okay, so what geometry truly is, it's not God's codes to reality. What we must understand is what the brain truly is. And what we must understand is that we are not in the world. We are not in the universe. The universe is us ourselves, and the world is produced by our brain itself. Okay? So the way you must understand how the brain works, so what you visually see, so geometry is to do with what we visually see. And what we visually see is heavily connected with our eyes, which are an extension of the brain. The eyes are the brain. And essentially, how we see is energy enters the eyes, and each eye goes to the optic nerve. And this energy is transferred into electricity, which travels to the back of the brain, to the visual cortex of our brain. And this is where the image is produced, what we see. Therefore, the world outside of us is truly inside of us. It's a projection from within the brain. The brain is an energy condenser, a decelerator, an energy decelerator. Everything outside of us is basically formless energy. It is formless energy vibrating at a certain frequency. So what the brain is, it's sucking in this energy, this light, and turning that frequency, that code, that light code, into a physical reality. It's condensing the energy and turning it into a visual image inside of the brain. Therefore, everything outside of you is not what it looks like. Everything outside of you is basically energy, infinite energy. And our brain is condensing this into a physical reality and projecting it outwardly, which you experience your visual field. Okay? And the ancients knew this. So this is basically called the sigil of Lucifer. Lucifer is known as the light bringer. Lucifer in Latin means to bring the light. This is the sigil of Lucifer, which shows the visual field and the brain. We also see this in the Google Play symbol. It's a powerful symbol showing you the visual field, which is basically a symbol that tells you that reality is inside of the brain. The brain is what produces reality, but consciousness is not produced in the brain. The brain is essentially a consciousness downloader. It's a computer and it's a reality simulator. The body is a simulation of physical reality. You are inside of the body experiencing the body simulation. The body produces this reality. It's a piece of technology. So Lucifer is to bring the light. Lucifer is the light being produced in our brains. Okay? So this is why they say Lucifer can tempt you. Lucifer can be the devil because it represents physicality. It represents the false light. Lucifer can trick you because it represents the physical world can trick who you truly are. So now that you understand how the brain is basically an energy decelerator and it creates and simulates a reality to your consciousness, you are no longer a person in a universe. You are the universe itself experiencing itself. Therefore, geometry is heavily linked in with the brain. Geometry is essentially how your brain and how your eyes decode energy. So what you are seeing is the mathematical codes of your brain creating reality. So what they teach you is the external is that geometry is God's way of creating this world, and these are the mathematical codes God's created. But now I'm telling you the internal. This is the truth. Geometry is how your brain mathematically condenses energy and light into a physical reality. So therefore, your brain is a computer program. So now geometry is nothing outside of you. Geometry is not something created by something else. It's created by your brain. Your brain produces these patterns through mathematical codes by breaking down energy into physical reality. And this is why you see geometry in everything around you. This completely changes your view on geometry. It's in your ear, it's in your face, it's in everything. Geometry is everything. Okay. So now that you understand this, now, as we were talking about the visual field earlier, the ancients knew about this. The ancient Egyptians knew about this. We can see this symbolism inside of the casket, the Egyptian casket. See, this crossover represents the visual field. This represents the back of the brain. This is the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere. And now some of the most simplest teachings in geometry is that straight lines are masculine and curved lines are feminine. And we even see this in the human body. The feminine human body is curvy and the masculine human body is liney. And even with the genital reproductive area, we have a line and a curve, 0 and 1, the binary code of all creation, 0 and 1, because that's basically all that exists. Nothingness and one, nothingness and God, nothingness and consciousness. That's all that exists. Now that I've told you that, the basics of geometry and the line and the curve and the feminine and the masculine, what do we have here? You see this stick here? This is a curve. And what's the right hemisphere? The right hemisphere is the feminine, the feminine energy, the feminine aspect of our brain. Then we have a straight line. This is straight lines. Now this represents the left brain. So the Egyptians are showing you the left masculine brain and the right feminine brain because of the curve and the straight line. And this is the visual field, the crossover. So there's a crossover in the brain. The left eye is connected to the right brain. The right eye is connected to the left brain. Okay, so the left eye is connected to the right brain. The right eye is connected to the left brain. The solar and the lunar. So, like I said, everything outside of you is basically energy. Your body is basically a holographic avatar, condensed energy produced by your brain. There's nothing actually outside of you. Your five senses are electrical threads of light. And when you touch something, this is basically electrical signals in your nervous system, which are reporting back to the brain. Therefore, what you touch is actually, you're not touching. The feeling that you feel when you touch something is not the true feeling. That's your nervous system you're feeling. You're feeling your nervous system in the brain. It's electrical signals to your brain. So the five senses do not decode, well, what you're experiencing as the five senses is not outside of you. This is your brain interpreting electrical signals. You don't experience the world, you experience your nervous system and your brain. The nervous system is an extension of the brain. So this is the truth. This is not woo-woo spirituality. This is true consciousness science that I'm teaching you here. Okay? So nothing is truly outside of you. It is a universe. You yourself are the universe, the fabric of the universe itself. The only thing that exists outside of you is essentially energy. That is it. And your body and your brain condenses this energy into reality. So when we look into architecture, why is architecture, the ancient architecture, so important? Because what did I tell you at the beginning? Shapes and physical matter is condensed energy. Each shape holds specific energy. Some shapes hold more energy, emit more energy. Some shapes condense energy. Some shapes transfer energy. Each shape, each geometric shape has an energetic principle because matter is essentially energy. So when we look into cathedrals and the ancient buildings, they were filled with geometric patterns, geometric shapes, because they understood the energy principle. Architecture is basically solid energy. It's physical energy. If we create this pattern here is an energy code. And if you stand next to it, you're going to gain that energy. It's going to be imprinted on your body. So essentially, they filled their buildings with high energy geometric shapes. Points, triangles, pyramids are very, very energetic. This is why you have crystal pyramids made orgonite pyramids. They're always in pyramid shapes. That's why the Egyptians built in pyramids, because pyramids hold high energy. They emit high energy. So this is why you see all these different geometric patterns. Okay. So in the real reality, in the energetic plane, this building would basically look like this: lines and grids of energy. Okay. This is what it would look like in the energetic plane, a blueprint of the energy body. So as you see here, these are the different frequencies in a petri dish, of water in a petri dish. And you can see they are specifically aligned up with these specific patterns. You can see geometry even within geometry. It's fractal. So essentially, when you would stand inside of these buildings, they would imprint the energy of the building in your body, because your body is healed through energy. You have an electromagnetic field around your body. So by creating buildings with geometric patterns, we are essentially increasing the energy of the building, because the building itself is energy. Okay. So when we fill it with geometric patterns, we're increasing the energy. We're giving it a certain energetic imprint. So when you stand inside of that building, you're being imprinted with that energy. Okay. So especially with these windows, these stained glass windows. Well, why are they stained glass? Well, color is frequency. So when you have all of these different colors, and not only were they just painted, some of these colors are specific gemstones, crystals, natural stones, which all hold energetic principles. Each crystal is vibrating on a certain frequency. Wood has its own frequency. Metal has its own frequency. What you must understand is that everything in nature is not just a piece of matter. It's vibrating. The atoms of wood are vibrating on a certain level, which give it a certain energetic principle. Each crystal is vibrating. The atoms of the crystal are vibrating on a certain frequency, which give it a certain energetic principle, quality. So each thing, this is why the ancients were obsessed with natural stones, natural things, crystals, natural metals, and they wore different metals, different things like copper on their bodies, because they understood the atoms of these natural things are vibrating, which give certain qualities to you if you wear them. So you're not wearing it, you're basically putting that frequency onto your body, because they understood this is energy. If I put copper on my body, I'm not putting copper on the body. I'm putting the frequency and the energy of the atoms onto my skin. And that frequency of them atoms are going to vibrate my skin, that frequency, and heal my body. So this is why this is so important. So each building is an energetic code. Okay. So when you stand in these buildings, it can heal your body. This is why when people walk into these ancient churches, they feel like they've met God. They feel a certain way. They feel so amazing when they enter these churches. They feel holy, for example. It's not because God's there. It's not because these man in the sky dwells in these holy places. It's because the energy of these buildings affect our consciousness. They increase your energy. They raise your vibration. They heal your body. They heal your cells. They imprint the water in your body, especially with these stained glass windows. Like I went a bit on a tangent there, but these stained glass windows were encoded. Well, they use different gemstones, different lights, different colors. And when the sun would shine through this window, well, what's the sun? The sun is light. Light is energy. The sun's light would go through this filter of the window of the crystals and the different gemstones and the different colors, and the sun's light would be encoded, imprinted with these crystals, with these colors and these natural glasses, which have healing energetic principles. And when you are inside that building, the sun's encoded energy of the window would be imprinted into your body, into your energy field, and it will heal your energy field, and it would heal your body, your cells on a cellular level. because your body is what? 60 to 70 to 80, some people say 80% water. And water is encoded with vibration. If you say certain things into water, it gives it a specific geometric pattern, like I broke down in the beginning. If you say love to a water and then freeze it, it will go to this. If you say hate, it will go to a distorted pattern. So when you are in these buildings, you're being imprinted by the energetic codes of these buildings, the energetic principles of the windows, of the structure itself. The ancients never used to build in squares. Their buildings, their insides were never square rooms because they understood squares trap energy. They always had pointed roofs so energy can escape. So there's many little things that we need to look into geometry. For example, when you see magicians, when you look at ancient magic, why do they stand in circles with different geometric patterns? They use different geometric shapes. Why? Because shapes are energy. They hold specific energy. So when the magician stands in a circle with a pentacle, they're working with the energy of that pentacle. You can work with different energies based upon the different geometric shapes that you draw. And you can use this in your structure, in your architecture, in your work, and it can influence everything. So this is the true geometry. I hope you gained a deeper understanding on geometry and how it relates with you and your consciousness. Like I said earlier, your brain produces geometry. It's basically how your brain decodes energy. It's not God, how God creates this reality. And no, you're in this reality. You are the reality itself. Your body produces the reality. Therefore, geometry is one with you. So therefore, if I play with the geometry of the buildings, for example, like the government have, everything's in squares. If you look outside, everything's a square, everything's a rectangle. You go to a city, every window is a rectangle, every building is a rectangle. You live in a box room, everything is boxed and squared off in this reality, in this modern society. Why? Because they're trapping energy. The cube is the most simple geometric shape, which basically condenses energy and it traps energy. And if you subconsciously see squares all the time, your phone's a square, your TV screen, everything's a square, your keyboard, your desk. Go and look at the ancients. They never used to build in squares and cubes. And if you go into nature, you'll never see squares and cubes. Nature doesn't create squares and cubes. Everything in the modern society is squares and cubes to simple your consciousness down, to dumb your brain down. So the ancients built very, very complex structures. Why? Because they understood what we see affects our brains, because our brains decodes reality and creates reality. If you see a sophisticated building, this is going to give you a sophisticated mind and raise your IQ levels over time, subconsciously. I'm not saying if you look at this building, you're going to become smart. I'm saying if every single building in your environment, ment is mind, mental, every single building in your environment was this complex and complicated, it would increase your IQ on a subconscious level. It'd make you more complex, make you more intelligent. So they've dumbed everything down. They've dulled everything down. Look at everything. Everything is being dulled down. So anyways, I hope you all gained a better understanding on this. If you want to gain more occult knowledge and esoteric knowledge, make sure to read the Book of Wisdom, Volume 2. If you're inside the university, you can get this book for free. Go to the general chat area and follow the instructions, and you can order yours for free. Truly life-changing stuff. Because the issue is with the world is that no one really understands who they are, what they are, and why we are here. That is the issue for people's depression, for people's wrongdoings. They don't understand who they are, what their emotions are, what their mind is, what their body is, what reality is. This book gives you that. This book gives you the sense of understanding, the sense of well-being that will give you a better life because you understand life and what life is. And if you truly want to take your studies to the next level, we have the Ethereal University. This is the place for truth seekers where you can connect with like-minded people so you don't have to feel insane, because not many people think this way. I've been there when people when you wake up and not many people around you are thinking the same way, and you start to feel a bit insane, and you can't really talk to people about these things. That's why I created this, so you can connect with people and learn at the same time and become the best version of yourself by understanding truth and knowledge. We do. If you join, you'll gain access to free live calls every single week, every single Saturday morning. We do live calls. You can ask me questions and all sorts. So make sure to leave a like and a comment. And thank you all for tapping in. So this is known as the bag of the gods. This symbolism is widely known, but no one knows what it truly symbolizes. We see this in ancient Sumerian artwork. We see this in the Mayans' artwork. We always see this bag with the gods. What does this actually represent? Okay, so the bag itself represents carrying. Carrying what? It represents information, represents knowledge. Your mind is the carrier of the information. So this is why in his left hand, he carries the bag, and the right hand has the pine cone. This represents carrying of information. Why is it a bag? A bag can be passed on to someone else. The information can be taught to someone else. This is the information of activation of the pineal gland or higher consciousness of humans. Because as humans, we all possess an animal nature, the nature that tells us to eat, to steal, to gain material wealth, to survive, to hate. This is our animal self. This is our animal behavior. But we also have a divine nature of consciousness, which we have access to, the higher planes of consciousness, the planes that manipulate this material world and create all things in this material world. The human mind has access to. The animal does not. The animal has no idea he exists. The animal has no inner dialogue, but humans have the inner dialogue. Humans can create infinitely. We can expand our minds infinitely into new realms of thought. So we have this higher divine nature and a lower nature. This bag of the gods is basically just representing the knowledge they possess of higher consciousness, of the higher aspect of life. Okay? Which is the activation of the pineal. The pine cone. The pine cone is in his right hand. The right represents wisdom. The left represents intellect, knowledge. Knowledge and wisdom are two separate things. Wisdom is applied knowledge. It's a feminine aspect. Knowledge is just gained information that you know, which is masculine. So in his right hand, he holds the pine cone. The pine cone can be opened and shut. The shut pine cone represents the asleep human being, the human being that exists in his lower nature, that just basically survives, lives on eating, consumption, material lust, living in chaos with his emotions, living in a place of hell. This is the animal nature. Then we have the awakened human, the one who has consciousness of himself, the one who looks within himself, the one who knows there is more to him when he looks in the mirror. He is far more than just the physical body. He is a divine spiritual being, a divine being who has limitless potential of creation into the material plane. So this represents the awakened. This represents the asleep. This is why he carries the pine cone in his right hand. It represents applied knowledge. This is the information. This is the intellect he possesses. And this is the applied knowledge of the awakening, of activation of the pineal gland. Because remember, the pineal gland is not your consciousness. The pine, pin, pineals, the same root word. Pine cones were always symbolizing the state of consciousness one was living in, whether he was asleep or awake. We see this at the Vatican. We see the pine cone over the two pillars. This is the two pillars of Freemasonry, and the dome. This is the Royal Arch of Freemasonry. This represents your head. This is the two pillars, the two hemispheres, and the pine cone in the middle, which is the pineal gland. What is the pineal gland? The pineal gland is not your consciousness. It is not the third eye, and it is not the mind. It's not the mind's eye. The pineal gland is a radio receiver. This is your body. Your body is an antenna. Most people think they are this body. This body is nothing but a receiver and a downloader of consciousness. Your brain does not produce consciousness. You are not this brain in your head. This brain is a downloader of consciousness. Consciousness comes from a way higher divine plane, which is what this image is showing here with the clouds. The mind is light. Consciousness is light. And this light is coming down into the material plane, and your body is basically a crystal antenna which is receiving and downloading this consciousness. So you can experience a three-dimensional reality. So God can experience himself in a divided, separate state. This is what this represents. Now, the pineal gland can be activated, okay, and stimulated, because the pineal gland has phytoluminescent crystalline jagged-shaped cells on it. And obviously, these are crystals. Crystals are on your pineal gland. And what do crystals do? Radios use crystals. Your phone uses crystals. They tell you that crystals are woo-woo and pseudoscience because they don't want you to know the power of crystals. Your body is basically a giant crystal. Your pineal gland is a radio receiver for your consciousness. So if they can ruin your pineal gland and damage it, this will damage your connection to the divine, to your true self, to consciousness, to God, whatever you want to call it, the source. There is all one source consciousness, and we're all collectively connected to it. And this is our connection. This is our antenna. So what a radio does, a radio has an antenna, and the frequencies are all around us because all the radios are playing in your ear right now. But what the antenna of a radio does is tune into a specific frequency to pick up that frequency and play that frequency. It's the same with your consciousness. You're all a fraction of God's consciousness. So that is essentially what we are looking at here. We're seeing knowledge, intellect in the left hand, and applied knowledge, activation of waking up to higher consciousness, to the higher human form. Because we can reach beyond our physical form. We can turn our animal self into a divine being, into one of these so-called gods. These gods are nothing but human beings. The Anunnaki were not gods. They didn't come from the sky. These are normal, regular human beings who activated their higher consciousness. This is what we have here. This represents spirit. Birds represent spirit. So do we have any questions? I'll take some questions now. That was just a short lecture on what that symbol truly means. Okay, so if we have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask some questions. Anything that you don't understand, anything that you want to know. Okay. So base reality would be where source resides. Yes, the base reality is your consciousness. Are these lectures available in the university? There's a whole section, basically inside the university, there's a whole section with like over 30 long form lectures like this. So the base reality is where the source resides. Yes, the base reality is your inner world. Your consciousness, that is the only thing that exists. Your outer world is just an effect of your consciousness. Your consciousness, everything that has gone on within the mind and emotion, is pushed outwards into your reality. You have thought and felt your way into your external circumstances. Your life is a direct correlation of every thought you thought in the past. Therefore, your inner world of consciousness is creating and molding your outer world. The best way to keep connection consistent, the best way to keep your connection to the divine or the higher planes of consciousness is through meditation and through imagination. Imagination is the fourth dimension. It is the astral plane. That screen that you have in your mind is not a physical screen. That is the divine plane of the astral. And this is essentially where all objects of this material world comes from. The phone that you are holding, the laptop you're watching this on, whatever you're doing, every single object you see in your room that you are in right now began inside of the plane of imagination. This is not a physical plane. This is a metaphysical plane that you have access to. And you have the ability to bring down this plane into physical form. That's what we call manifestation. That's what the ancients called magic. This is what we now call in science metaphysics. It's all the same thing. So yes, you all have access to the divine planes. Unlike animals, this is why humans are so advanced. Okay. Is the pineal able to constantly activated, or is it just a temporary experience? I don't fully understand that question, unfortunately. Maybe you could word it in a different way. The real meditations on the university, legit, y'all, yes. In order to connect to consciousness, you need to sit in meditation and turn off your feelings, and the feeling of unity will come. Do I understand correctly? Yes, that is correct. So when you sit in silence and in stillness, I highlight the word stillness because stillness, when you are still, no information from your nervous system is being decoded by the brain. So when your body is still and does not move, your nervous system starts to relax and comes to a balanced state. Your brain starts to relax, it comes to a balanced state. The left and the right brain stop working, the nervous system stops working. Then, once the body, the material body, is shut down, you then have access to consciousness. You can't access consciousness if the body's in such a busy state. If electricity is being fired every 2 seconds, your whole body's electrical. When you move your foot, that's electricity being fired from the brain to the foot instantly through the nervous system. Your brain, your whole body is a technological machine. So you must shut down the technological machine to access the divine that exists beyond the technological machine. Do you understand that? Did we create ourselves from the higher plane? When you say yes, you created yourself, you manifested yourself in this material form for a reason in this specific time and place. Wisdom books, are these available inside the university? Yes, they are. So anyone who joins the university, they all gain 50% off the store. So you can get anything off, anything you want inside the store for 50% off. Plus, you get the Book of Wisdom Volume 1 PDF for free. You get the Human Health Guide. Plus, you get all of the library books. There's a load of different books on occultism, symbolism, esotericism. Do you need to place your attention somewhere specific during meditation? You can do. Okay, you can do. So if you struggle, when you first start to meditate and you struggle to turn off the thoughts, think of the back of the brain, the back of your head. Don't think of it, place your attention on it. Okay, so when you place your attention on the back of the brain, this now shuts off thought because the back of the brain doesn't have any activation to do with thought. The front brain does, the neocortex. That's all to do with activation of thinking. So Place your attention on either the back of the brain or your breath. What's more important, creating yourself or finding yourself? It's balance of both. So in order for you to create fully, you must have awareness of self and awareness of thought and control over the mental dialogue, the inner voice inside of you. Okay. When you control that inner voice, that is when you gain power. That inner voice is what brings commands into physical reality. Before you kick a football, there is a change in consciousness. There's a decision made in consciousness before the body takes the action. Therefore, every physical manifestation is a change of inner consciousness before it's a physical reality. You can have the reality you want through consciousness before physically having it. That's the secret to creating. But you must believe it like you know the sun is going to rise in the morning. That's how much you should know that you have that reality in consciousness through feeling and thought and imagination. And that's how you can truly create in your reality. Shrooms help with consciousness or ego. I can't really talk about that because I'm maybe uploading this to YouTube, unfortunately. But we need to clean our pineal gland first from calcification. Yes, definitely. You should go on a detox the body, because you can't really connect with consciousness if your body is in such a dirty state. Because the brain is, your nervous system is in a state of fight or flight, trying to fight off all these toxins. So when you meditate, you're probably going to be having thoughts all the time because your brain's firing, your nervous system's being attacked through toxins. So you must detox to have a true connection with the divine. Your diet plays a big role in your spirituality and mentality. What is the most optimal food for pure consciousness? Fruits and vegetables. They possess consciousness. So when you place them inside of you, they're syncing with your consciousness. How to check the cleanliness of your body, your skin, your teeth, your tongue, your mouth. If your skin has spots, different colors on it, you're not clean, because your skin is a reflection of your inner organs. Coffee's not the best for you. Coffee gives you fake energy. Okay. So what coffee does, that buzz you get off coffee, is actually the toxic effect of the chemicals reacting with your body. If I'm inside the university and wanted to buy your book, you said it would be 50% off because we are your student. Is that automatic or we need to have a code? You will have a code. Yes, I'm going to releasing a code for all the students after this. Caffeine equals neurotoxin. Yes, it fries your brain, it fries your nervous system, it fries your dopamine receptors. Will the Q&A last week about money symbolism be posted? Oh, I didn't post that. That's my bad. I totally forgot. I will post that after this. Thank you for reminding me. How to detox the body. The best way to detox the body is going through a week cleanse of fruit. So only consume fruit, sea moss, and cayenne pepper, and lots of freshly pressed juice. Do that for a week or 2 weeks, depending on how you feel, and then start to fast. You will lose weight, but you're not losing weight, you're losing impurities. It's good to do this every couple months, to just go on a raw fruit diet, cleanse the body, push everything out, and then start to fast while, consuming sea moss and having lots of freshly squeezed juices. What is an alternative for coffee? Something with high energy levels. Okay. We're not taught the most simplest thing about the human body. It is an electromagnetic machine. It's electrical. It runs off electricity. The only energy you need is electricity, and that is found in fruits, vegetables. If you want energy, drink pure, fresh, pressed juice. That will give you more energy, more electricity than coffee. Can we cleanse ourselves through oil pulling? Do you recommend it? I do oil pulling every day with coconut oil in my mouth. Celery juice is a good one, very good one. Yeah, celery juice. Any more questions? What kind of music do you listen to when lifting? For me, rap, hip hop push me work harder, but I know it's terrible for my subconscious. Yes, very. At least you're aware of it. You know, you should be definitely try and stay away from the hip hop music. Try and stay away from anything that's talking about anything negative because it's all programming your subconscious. And your belief system is your reality, people. Your belief system is your reality. Okay. So look after your subconscious. That's what's controlling your actions. 90% of your actions on a daily basis are controlled through your subconscious beliefs. Okay. I listen to a lot of Pastel Ghost. I listen to a lot of let me get my playlist up. It's all like background music for TikTok. Do you know what I mean? Like Pastel Ghost. That's mainly what I listen to. That sort of music. I don't know what it's kind of called. I don't know what that genre is called. Does anyone know what that genre is actually called? Because there's not much words in it. The reason I listen to it is because there's not much words in it. And, you know, it helps the subconscious. And I just love that music. Like Lofi, yeah, a bit of Lofi. Uh, most people won't even know this type of music. Can you tell us how you use cayenne pepper? So I mix it with freshly squeezed orange juice every morning. So the first thing I have, empty stomach, I have a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, mix it in and just down it every morning. And sometimes at night. The feeling you get in your stomach after putting cayenne pepper on an empty stomach is absolutely amazing. It tingles in your stomach. It kills parasites. It kills all horrible organisms. Mix it with hot water. Yes, hot water and key lime water. That I bet that's powerful. If you mixed warm water with key lime with cayenne pepper in first thing in the morning, I can imagine how powerful that is. I've never done that, but I'm going to try that. Do you use sea salt? I don't know what to think about sea salt, to be honest. I try and stay away from it. I don't know whether it's good, don't know whether it's bad. I'm kind of mixed on it, mixed information. Uh, you know, I've heard people have benefits. I've heard other people say stay away from it. So I don't know. I just stay away from it. Just I'm not too sure on it. I drink fresh pressed celery juice every morning. Yeah, definitely. Uh, is there any chance we could like feel for, move to like esoteric occult questions? The only reason I say that is because I might be posting this to YouTube, so it's like I don't want them. I don't want them thinking I'm giving health advice because I'm not. This is what I do. I'm not giving anyone medical advice. This is what I would do to myself because I can probably get in trouble for that. So the subconscious is the all knowing, it is the all seeing eye. The subconscious knows everything. Your conscious mind does not. Your subconscious knows every single cell in your body. Your subconscious is making your heart beat. It's talking to your heart, It's talking to every organ, every cell in your body is being connected and spoken to by your subconscious mind. It is the all-knowing. The subconscious has access to the astral plane, imagination, the fourth dimension. It has access to the mental plane, thoughts. It has access to the ethereal plane, energy. And has access to your physical body. It's the door. It's the portal. The subconscious is the portal to the divine. You must go through the subconscious in order to access the divine. Any coupon codes for book 2? Yes, inside the university, there will be a 50% off coupon code. Speaking of ancient civilizations, why did they use symbols to give us true knowledge? This is a very, very good question. Very good question indeed. The reason they use symbols is because symbols are their keys. They hide meanings. They hide things. For example, if it was written down, if all of this sacred knowledge that I'm speaking now was written down, it can be easily taken. It can be easily misused. Someone can take it, read it, and steal it and misuse it and abuse the world and create horrible things. The reason they use symbols is because they're hidden. They hide the teachings. Only the ones who possess the key, that possess the knowledge, can read the symbol. So the symbols act as a guard towards this higher wisdom, this higher knowledge, which gives you power. All of the knowledge I teach you gives you power. And you can misuse it. You can misuse your imagination. You have no clue, unless you've put this into action, how powerful your inner consciousness is. You can become a Okay, listen. If you hate your job, it's not the job that you hate. Think about it. It's not the job that you hate. The hate is coming from your inner consciousness. It's the state of consciousness that you hate. So what does that tell you? You can change that inner consciousness to another reality, the feeling of another reality. You can become that consciousness within before you actually externally have it. And by becoming and knowing that reality, that's what produces effect on shaping your outer world. When you really, truly know that reality inside of you, of being free, of being wealthy, of having abundance, your outer world has no other choice but to rearrange itself to your new inner state of consciousness. That's what magic is. It's manipulating your inner state of consciousness. It's convincing yourself that you already have it, not believing it, knowing it. Okay? Knowing is different than believing. Believing is a lie. You should know thyself. Okay? So we can say that human overpopulation is intentional. There is no human overpopulation. We're all cramped in these cities. We're all cramped into one little place. We're not supposed to live like that. We're not supposed to live so cramped. This is why there's so many weirdos out in public. So many weird people doing weird things. This is when things start to go weird, and we shouldn't be living in this state, in this condensed state. We should be spread out. Okay. There is no overpopulation. It's just an illusion because we all lived in such. Have you ever been on a plane? Have you seen how much land there is? It's crazy. There's no overpopulation. And how many people do they say there's in the world? There's not that many people in the world that they say. I think it's like 8 billion. I think they say there's 8 billion people. There's not 8 billion people. There's probably more like 2 billion. And the reason I say that is because I have a friend who only has like 300K followers. So that's a lot of followers, okay? and he gets recognized everywhere he goes. And he's into all this stuff, and he says, listen, the population is definitely not 8 billion or whatever they say. I think it's like a couple billion. It's probably more like a billion. How to properly manifest intentions. Thought, emotion, and imagination are the key. You must know that you have that reality. Don't believe it. Become that reality within your consciousness. All day long, as much as possible. Feel it. Imagine it. Say it. And have zero doubt. How to have zero doubt. You can't, well, okay, so the doubt, that little voice that will seep into your mind saying, you can't do that. You can't do this. That's your old voice of your subconscious program. Listen, the reason why most people fail in life is because they have trained their subconscious that they will fail. They have told and believed that they will fail. The reason I will succeed for the rest of my life is because I have trained my subconscious to say, I will win, I will succeed, I will solve any problem. That's my belief system. And if my belief system is that, then my external reality, my conscious mind will seek a way to fulfill that belief. It will seek to control and create that belief in my external world. It will seek to solve any problem. I've trained my subconscious mind to know that I already have the reality, to know that I'm abundant, to know that I have everything that I already need. Therefore, if any problem comes, I can sort it straight away. But most people have a different belief. It's not your fault. We've been kind of manipulated and told this, that they will fail, that they can't do anything, that it's too hard. And that basically casts a spell on the conscious mind, where your conscious mind is just like, no, I can't do that, because of this subconscious belief that you hold. So you must reprogram your subconscious that you can do it, that you will solve any problem, and that you are abundant. That's the reason why successful people succeed. It's because they have a complete different mind state, a complete different belief system in their subconscious. Do you offer mentoring? Yes, I do offer mentoring, but it's mainly for people who want to grow their online presence, and for the amount of value and transformation that I can place into your life, and the time that, well, the price of my time, it will be a higher price tag, but your life will completely change if you join my mentoring, because I will transmute your life. I will transmute your mind, and I will transmute your whole reality, because I could tell you exactly what you need to do. How to have super genius power pulling information from the source. Okay, so you can do this. I talked about this in Book of Wisdom, Volume 2, if you've read it. This is a technique that Albert Einstein used. This is a technique that Thomas Edison used. This is a technique that all of the ancient geniuses have used. So you get on a chair, you place metal below you or plates, and you hold a metal ball in your hand, and you fall asleep. And every time you fall asleep on the chair, you're going to drop the ball because your body will become unconscious, and you will basically drop the ball, and it will wake you up because it's going to hit and make a loud bang on the plate. And every time you go to sleep, basically what this is actually doing is shifting your consciousness from conscious into the subconscious. So from physical into the astral. Your consciousness is shifting between these two planes. And as you do this, you can bring down great ideas from these higher planes. So when you fall asleep, have an intention. And when you fall asleep, you'll drop the ball. And when you wake back up, you'll have an idea and you just got to write it down. How to balance chakras. Don't focus on balancing your chakras. Focus on the mind. The mind is the cause of the chakras being blocked. If you have a blocked throat chakra, this is a problem in your mind, not the chakra. You see, the chakras are a result of the mind. You transmute the mind, you can transmute the chakras and cleanse them. So was Jesus a real man that walked? Okay, so I'm going to tell you something. Like, some of the things that I say in my reels, they are to catch attention. So if I say the first thing on the reel, Jesus never existed, straight away, you see that, it's going to trigger you. It's going to trigger Christians. It's going to trigger people. So yes, I do say things to catch attention. The reason I do that is because I have to in order to catch attention. Maybe there was a Jesus who walked. So in the past, I have said Jesus never existed. Yes, this is to catch attention, to boost the reels, views, and comments and stuff like that. Maybe there was a man who was called Jesus and walked the earth. But listen, he was not the Son of God. You are all the Son of God. Jesus represents an archetype. He represents morals. He represents a way of living that you should embody in your life, not to worship. We shouldn't be worshiping this man. We should be embodying his qualities into our lives so we can become Christ consciousness, so we can live in harmony with our mind, emotions, body, and spirit. Okay? He was not the Son of God. You are all the Son of God. We are all God experiencing himself in a three-dimensional divided form. God is oneness, and he created a divided world so he can experience himself. Why do you quote from the Freemasons oft times? I don't recall me looking at Freemason quotes and quote them. I just simply, when I post a quote, I literally just, whatever comes to my head, I just whack it into Telegram or Twitter. Are dreams tied to your subconscious, and how do you understand them? Okay. Dreams and astral projection are two different things. Astral projection is your soul leaving this plane into the collective consciousness, into the collective mind, the collective astral plane. But dreams are basically the astral plane, but it's your personal astral plane in your personal subconscious. So when you dream, you're entering your own consciousness, you're entering your own subconscious. Every character, every event that happens to you, everything that is said to you, everything that happens to you in your dream is yourself pushed outwards, and you're basically experiencing your own mind. If something scary comes up in your dream, this is your belief, this is something in the back of your mind materializing and coming to you and showing itself to you. So in order to understand your dreams, it's basically suppressed emotions, suppressed thoughts, all lingering in your subconscious materialized. Okay. A few months ago, I'd have concurrent dreams of getting in a car crash that lasted for months. Then one day out of nowhere, I got into a really bad accident, and that low-key bugged me out. I didn't know if my mind was trying to warn me or what. You can explain that. Okay. If you are having dreams about having a car crash, this is a belief. Okay, so let me tell you something. Let's say you're a drug dealer, okay? And you live in fear every single day of the police coming to you. This dealer every day is worried, he's scared, and he lives in fear of the police getting him. He was believing it. This fear, this emotion he was feeling on a regular basis, repetition, and the emotion is basically impressing your subconscious. It's impressed his subconscious that deeply that he now believes it. It's now become a belief. So one day the dealer gets caught and he goes prison. Let me tell you something. He placed himself there because he created a program, a belief in his subconscious of the police. And his external reality is now in a prison cell. But that prison cell is just an external manifestation of the prison cell of fear he installed in his subconscious mind. The four walls he's now trapped in is just basically an externalization of his own belief system that he created through consciousness, through the subconscious. If you embedded your belief that you will be in a car crash, you will be in a car crash. He placed himself there. He materialized that reality through the thought, through the emotion, through the belief. He put himself there. You see? So if you were having dreams, this was maybe, could have been anything. You could have watched a program when you were a child about a car crash and that maybe scared you, or you saw a car crash when you were very young and that scared you and that impressed your subconscious. Then you had a dream about it. Then you started to believe it. And then one day, bang, it happens. That's the power of the subconscious mind. It holds control over you. It holds control over every aspect of your reality, of your being. So, I hope you all enjoyed this live. I'll see you all inside Ethereal University. I'll be posting another lecture this week. And yeah, let me hold on. Matthew 21:1, Jesus went into the temple of God. Corinthians 3:16, do you not know that you are the temple of God? Now, what is this telling you? That God is within you. Hence why in Luke 21:12 it tells you the kingdom of God is within you. And the side of your head region is called a temple for a reason. Because the brain encapsulates the mind. The brain is a physical manifestation of the mind. The heart is a physical manifestation of emotion. So we have these different layers of our consciousness. We have an intellectual, communicative aspect of our consciousness, which we would call the mind. We have an emotional aspect of our consciousness, which is the heart. And to communicate with the divine, it's all to do with the mind. Hence why the ancients always symbolize the mind being God. This is why Michelangelo always placed God inside of the brain on top of Sistine Chapel in the middle of the Vatican. He understood that God is in the brain. God is within you, not outside of you. The church tells you that God is in the sky because they are creating a externalization of the truth to create a business and a distraction so that you don't find the divinity within you, so that you don't find your power. Now you have Adam, the physical man, the physical body, the ego, the lower self. And he is resting. He's not trying to reach to God, but God is reaching because the higher consciousness within you is always trying to communicate with you. It's always trying to wake you up to your divinity. But the lower mind, the lower self, Adam, the physical self, is always in ignorance of truth, always in ignorance, and stays in a materialistic way of thinking, which is the lower animal self. And this is what we call a sleep or an NPC. This is the lower mind of man. But all you have to do is to move your finger to touch God. You have to look within yourself, within the brain, meditate, and you can find God. This is why in the Bible we see many references to the human body and anatomy to truly connect with God. Kings 6:8, The door to the middle chamber was in the right side of the house, which is the right hemisphere of the brain. The middle chamber is the pineal gland, where the seat of your consciousness is, where the seat of your higher consciousness is, the mind. And they went up the winding stairs, which is your spinal column, into the middle chamber, and out of the middle chamber into the third. So they went up the winding stairs. This represents raising your consciousness up the winding stairs. Your spinal column acts as a stairway of consciousness. Depending on what sort of consciousness you are operating in, depends on what part of the spinal column you are using. Because the spinal column ascends and descends consciousness. What do I mean? If you are in a reproductive way of thinking and you're always thinking about sex, you're jerking off all the time and you're always eating, all of your brain's power and your mind's power is being descended into the lower aspects of the spinal column, which represents hell, the physical state of man, Adam, the ignorant state. We're basically living off low-level pleasures like an animal. And the stairway to heaven is your spinal column. They went up the winding stairs into the middle chamber, which is your mind, your pineal gland, and out of the middle into the third stage of consciousness, physical, etheric, astral. When you meditate and you start to raise your consciousness during meditation, you enter the astral plane when you turn off thought. But this is the middle chamber inside of the brain. Here we see another painting inside of Sistine's chapel of God inside of the brain. This is the brainstem. This is the brain. This is the frontal lobe. This is the back lobe. This is the back lobe. This is the cerebellum. Here's the reptilian brainstem. Here's the claustrum. This is what we are seeing here. Anatomy. Here is another one in Sistine's chapel in the middle of the Vatican. This is depicting the brainstem. God's neck looks exactly like the brainstem. Here we see a real brain compared to God's neck, because the neck is just below the brainstem. And this is what they are symbolizing, because they knew that God is within you. God is a part of the human body. God is inside of the body, because the body is a vessel for consciousness, for universal consciousness. Inside of you, inside of me, is the same spark of consciousness. And this same consciousness is spread out into every living essence, because everything comes from the one source, the one God, the one consciousness. Matthew 6:22-23. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Practicing the single eye. What is this? This is meditation. This is entering within yourself. So the Bible's telling you to practice the single eye. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. What does this mean? If your consciousness is in an evil way of thinking, if your mind is filled with an evil, negative mind space, then your body shall be filled with darkness, with evil, with negativity. Because negative thoughts destruct the body. Positive thoughts heal and regenerate the body. So he tells you to be, the light of the body is the eye, your consciousness, the inner eye of consciousness, the eye that lets you see. And what do I mean? You look with your two physical eyes, but you see with the inner eye. What you see is perception. You look with the two eyes, and what you see is perception. You are seeing, you are understanding, and that's what consciousness, the mind, gives you. Consciousness, or the mind, is the force that allows you to be a human being, that allows you to understand things and interact with things and make decisions. It's an infinite intelligence. See, the mind is not the brain. This is a big confusion with people. Hence why the eye on top of the pyramid is separate from the bottom half of the pyramid, because the consciousness is separate from the body, the eye, the all-seeing eye. It represents the observer, the eye that sees into this body, into this world, into this. You are the perceiver. You are the invisible spirit within the body. Theologians 4:17. After that, we are still alive, and our left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. You don't meet the Lord in the physical air. Okay? This symbolism of the ancient Christian artwork is showing you this is symbolic. These things never happened. There's no man in the sky. Moses didn't go on a mountain to meet with God. The air represents the mind. This is why you say you're an airhead when someone's very stupid. Earth is your body. Water is your emotions. Fire is your spirit. Air is your mind, the invisible mind. So Anton Mengs, an ancient Christian art worker, is showing you anatomy of God in the clouds. But this is the anatomy of the human body, raising yourself to the mind and turning the mind inwards on itself during meditation. And that's how you meet the Lord in the air. You meet the Lord in an elevated state of consciousness. The air represents an elevated state of consciousness because the air is up. You have to raise your consciousness to meet the Lord in the air. This is why Moses went on a mountain to meet with God. The mountain represents elevation of consciousness, raising the mind up the spinal column, taking all of the mind's attention away from the reproduction and the physical aspects of self and raising it to the brain and turning off the brain and going inward into the air. It's talking about raising consciousness. It's allegorical. It's a spiritual, metaphorical text. The side of your head's called a temple because inside that where that temple is, right in the middle of where you call the temple, is the inner chamber, the open room, the holies of holies in the Bible, or the land flowing with milk and honey, or Mount Zion. There's so many different names for the brain, or the upper room where Jesus meets his 12 disciples, the 12 cranial nerves in your brain. This is the temple of God. Your body is a temple of consciousness. It encapsulates the consciousness. It encapsulates the mind and soul. John 10:30, Jesus states, I and the Father are one. Psalms 46:10, be still and know that I am God. He's talking about the I am within you, not within Jesus. Everyone refers to ourselves as I. I am God. When you say I, you're referring to the highest aspect of yourself, the aspect that is above all thought, above all emotion, and above all things. When you say I, you're referring to your pure awareness, your pure consciousness, the highest aspect of yourself. And anything after I is egotistical. I is God. The letter I is the Roman numerals for one, because there is one God, one consciousness. The letter I is one line, just like the number one. Matthew 6:3-4, take no thought. Therefore, take no thought. Take no thought. He says this 5 times because you must turn off the 5 senses and take no thought to connect with God. Be still. This is telling you to meditate and know that I am God. The I am within you. I and the Father are one. I and God are one. You, who you think you are, is a completely wrong. The body is matter. Your name isn't you. Your job isn't you. Your reputation, your trauma, your memories, your friends, family, worries, bills, interests, dislikes, goals, passions. Anything to do with the thinking mind is not you. Who you think you are is a part of your thinking aspect of consciousness. But once you remove thought, you are no longer your name. You are no longer your body. You're no longer your reputation. You are the I. You are pure awareness, pure consciousness. pure consciousness. And this pure consciousness has latched on to this name, this job, the body, and your traumas. Your pure consciousness has attached itself to this character who you're playing in the physical world. And this is essentially who you think you are, but you are not. You are the I, you are the self, you are pure awareness. So, in order for you to detach from these things, you must learn how to detach from your name, your job, your reputation. And you do this through meditation by turning off the thinking mind. Turning off the thinking mind allows other aspects of your consciousness to open up. What do I mean? Your whole life you've been thinking, and all of these thoughts has attached you to this physical body. You haven't allowed your consciousness to open up. And you can only do this by taking no thought. That's why Jesus tells you, take no thought. When you turn off the thinking mind, other aspects of your consciousness starts to open up. Other aspects of your being can open up. And this is how you astral project. This is how you do all these mystical things and things to do with consciousness. It's taking no thought. Imagination, emotions, thought, and memory are all to do with consciousness. These things are not physical. You can't touch thought. You can't touch emotions. You can't touch these things because they are not a physical thing. So you must turn off these things for other aspects of your consciousness to open up. Okay? So essentially, the Bible is a metaphorical, astrological, numerological, metaphysical, spiritual, encoded text that talks about human anatomy, spirituality, and the true nature of the human experience. Everything they teach you in school is to make you think that you are this body. Everything they teach you in church is the externalization of the true teachings of Jesus. Jesus was telling you to meditate. Jesus was telling you to practice the single eye. Jesus was telling you to look within yourself and find God. He wasn't telling you to pray to him. Mark 16:19, he was taken up to heaven and sat at the right hand of God, the right hemisphere of your brain. John 21:6, cast the net onto the right-hand side of the boat and you shall find fish. Fish is understanding. The boat is your body, your brain. Cast your awareness into the right side of your brain and you will find understanding, because the right side of your brain is all to do with the creative aspect and the intuition and the spiritual sides of your consciousness. This is why God is here. This is why Michelangelo depicted God in the right hemisphere of your brain, because this is all human anatomy. And I speak about all of this in the brand new Book of Wisdom, Volume 2, which is now available. The start of the revolution has begun. This book is truly going to change the way people see the world. It's got so many more topics than the last one. It's truly a revolution. It's written in so much detail. It's very practical. I cannot wait to share this one with you. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity for me to create this book, because without you, I couldn't have created this. And I just love sharing my work with you. And I thank every single one of you for the support, the watch, like the views and the likes, everything, especially the people who have joined the university and stuff like that. And for people who have joined the university, you do get a free Book of Wisdom paperback if you just go to the general chat and follow the description, follow what the instructions that I gave you in the chat, and you'll be able to order a free Book of Wisdom if you are inside of the university. Plus, you get all of my other books, 2 books, and over 45 occult books on occult and esoteric things. You get lectures, live calls, a community, a manifestation mastery course, and a whole library and reoccurring updates every month, every week. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all. Please leave a comment to help the algorithm and leave a comment on what videos I should make. And yeah, I'll get to uploading on the YouTube a lot more now the second book is now released. I have a lot more time on my hands. No longer using my energy to create the book. I'm now going to redirect this mental energy into the YouTube. So there will be a lot more content coming. So I need some content ideas. So feel free to comment some ideas, some YouTube videos that I can create. Thank you all, people. Have an amazing day. How are we doing, people? It's Revival of Wisdom. We're back today talking about sun worship. Okay? And please enjoy. Sit back and enjoy the video. First thing we need to understand is that the sun is the risen savior. It's the light of the world. Without the sun, we have nothing. Now, the sun is the Son of God. We didn't make the sun. No one owns the sun. But who created the sun? Obviously, the Creator created the sun. Therefore, it is the Son of God. And that is what Jesus is symbolizing in the Bible. The Bible is a metaphorical story. That's why it's called the greatest story ever told, because it is a story about the sun, the zodiac. It's about you, the systems in the body. It's about everything that is sacred in this creation. Now you can see the suns behind Jesus' head in all of the ancient portraits, even the ones that are more modern. You still see a sun on the back of his head because he is the sun. He's the light of the world, our risen savior. And this is what Christians are lost because they don't realize it's a symbolic story and they think Jesus was a historical person. He's not a historical person. Okay, this is what we need to get out of our mind. This wasn't a historical person. It's the Son, our risen Savior. The Son is the soul. It's the soul of this creation. Because what is a soul? A soul is pure life force, pure energy. Whatever a soul inhabits, it gives life to. Like our soul feeds our body. The sun feeds the earth because the sun is a soul, and that's why the ancients called it soul. Because it's the soul and it's in you and it's the light of the world. It's the light of everything. It gives life to all things. Here's Jesus and his 12 disciples. The 12 disciples symbolize the 12 zodiac signs. Aries, it rules the head region because the 12 zodiac constellations rule specific regions of your body. Aries, the ram, you have a cerebrum in your head. This is Aries on the head of the table. His Gemini rules the arms and the lungs. The two twins, Gemini. He's holding up two hands for the two hands and arms. The twins. Cancer has a knife in his hand. It's not so clear, but he has a knife in his hand. Cancer is the crab. Crabs have claws. And he's pointing at Virgo's Adam's apple, saying there's no Adam's apple there. It's a woman. Who's the sixth sign? The sixth sign is Virgo, the Virgin, the only woman in the painting. Now, notice how there are 3 people in 4 groups for the 4 seasons and for the 3 months and 3 zodiac signs in each season: spring, summer, fall, winter. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John with the suns on the back of their heads because it's the 4 states of the sun. The 4 states of the sun. Now, 6th sign, Virgo, the Virgin, the only woman in the painting with no Adam's apple. Then we have the sun, Jesus, red and blue, red shift, blue shift, electromagnetism. The ancients knew this. He's got one hand open, one hand down, because the sun gives and retrieves. The sun rises and it falls. It gives, then pulls away. That's what the sun does, and that's what he's doing. His arms are out, symbolizing the rays of the sun. casting down onto the earth, giving and then receiving. Libra is two hands are equal, holding his arms out equally, because Libra is the two balanced scales. Libra is when the sun is balanced between the summer and the winter. It's being judged. The sun isn't balanced. That's what Libra is, the two scales. Capricorn is the goat. Goats have two horns, and you can see the two horns on his head here. See? So this is astrology. This what Leonardo da Vinci is depicting here. It's astrology. He knew the story of the Bible is all astrology. It's all based on astrology. The Son of God, the real Son. Now here are some Bible verses. I am the light of the world. Obviously, that's the sun. What other light is there that lights up the world? The moon can't do it. It's the sun, the one and only Son, our risen Savior. Because if the sun didn't rise, we'd all be dead. So it's our risen Savior. And it dies for our sins every night and then gets reborn every day. Now, Jesus calms the storm. Mark 4:35-41. The disciples are all on a boat and there's a heavy storm. But Jesus is asleep. The disciple says, Jesus is asleep. We need to awake him. They wake up Jesus, and Jesus got up and rebuked the wind and said to the waves, quiet, be still. Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. Well, when Jesus was asleep, this is the sun not being risen. It's not risen yet. Because in the night times, that's when the storms happen on the sea, in the ocean. And when they awake Jesus, Jesus rises because he's the sun. He rises and everything calms. Because when the sun comes, the storms go. You see? So it's the sun. It's all about the sun. Here's another, Luke 22:10. A disciple asked Jesus, when will we know it's the end times? And Jesus says, as you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters. Well, this is clearly talking about astrology, the topic that Christians think is satanic, when they don't realize the whole thing's based on astrology. Because the end times is the